The Justice League does a great job of protecting the Earth, but what about sending individuals out into space? This storyline picks up after a different storyline called No Justice, in which the Justice League actually broke the Source Wall. The Source Wall is the farthest reaches of space and protects our universe from alternate universes. And it was broken, so they had to send a few individuals into space to see what was going on and how they can fix it. Think of this as a spacefaring Justice League storyline known as Justice League Odyssey. This is the Comicstorian Full Story channel, where we take a bunch of videos out of a playlist on our main channel, Comicstorian, and lump them together to give you a giant video. And today we're going to be covering Justice League Odyssey. I hope you guys enjoy the story. When Cthulhu fell to the hands of the Omega Titans, hundreds of dormant worlds were set free. These collections of planets formed what is known as the Ghost Sector. The terrified souls within these worlds shouted to the heavens for their old gods to return. Why have they abandoned them? Why? But among those that managed to survive, one refugee knows the horrifying truth, and his name is Cove Mall. Cove Mall tried to tell the Green Lantern to Paul before her departure back to the Guardians of the Universe, but she left before he could say. With her world destroyed, T'Pol couldn't charge her ring, so she had no means of communication with the rest of the Corps. But before she could get far, a giant hand crushed her spaceship, destroying her ring. Now, several days later, Jessica Cruz is out on a patrol, repairing the damaged security outposts that keep watch over the maelstrom that surrounds the Ghost Sector. While fixing one of the outpost stations, Jessica gets a call from Simon Baz. He asks how things are, and Jessica tells him that things have been pretty boring. Simon reminded her that she was the one who signed up for this. However, before Jessica could give him an answer, comms begin to fade as Jessica's ring indicates that there is an incoming vessel not approved for entry approaching. Jessica rushes out to see a Brainiac ship speeding by, piloted by none other than Cyborg and Starfire. Jessica takes a closer look at the ship, noticing the damage done to it, rushing over to see what is going on. Inside, Starfire tells Cyborg that he can still turn back. It was her intention to find Tamaran on her own. Cyborg says that he is a member of the Justice League and they broke the damn universe. Every time they come out into space, they make a mess and they never clean it up. This time he's going to, but at that moment the ship is hit by the maelstrom and Cyborg screams in pain as Starfire tells him that he can't push himself too hard. He's already putting too much pressure on the mother box. Cyborg repositions himself at the helm, stating that it's the only way and it's worth it. She was there. They unleashed the shrunken worlds. They left people behind. Starfire says that he must not let the guilt of that destroy him. Maybe they should go back, but then another voice tells her to have faith in himself. Cyborg yells to Azrael to go back down. They are not about to take advice from a damn stowaway. Azrael says, "We all heard a voice telling us to come here. As long as we listen to that voice, we can make it through the maelstrom." Outside of the ship, Jessica Cruz races to catch up, calling out to the ship, telling whoever is piloting it that they better turn it right back around before they make a big, stupid mistake. But as Jessica gets closer, the radiation from the outside begins to break through her Green Lantern shields. Starfire hurries out to catch her and bring her in, and as the two tumble into the airlock, Jessica says, "Thanks for the save, but you're still under arrest for violating code GS51. Cyborg tells her that he's sorry, but they're not stopping for anyone because they've got company. Before Jessica can even ask what he is talking about, there's a thunderous roar from three gigantic monsters following behind them. Jessica sighs, telling them that they're going to have one hell of a talk once this is over, and she creates a shield to protect the ship from the incoming blast. Cyborg says that they aren't going fast enough to get out of this. They're going to need some juice. Azrael, use that high-tech suit and pilot the ship. As Cyborg unseats himself, Azrael asks what is he planning on doing, and Cyborg says that he's going to give the ship a little power boost. Starfire? She tells him that this could kill him, but Cyborg says that they have no choice. He can handle it. Once Cyborg is connected to the spaceship, Starfire releases some of her power into Cyborg and receives the much-needed boost to pull ahead of the monsters. But the ship is still going too fast. Once they get out of the maelstrom, Brainiac's ship comes crashing down onto one of the nearby planets. As the group is thrown out of the ship, Jessica creates a shield around everyone to protect them. And once things are settled, she shouts, asking if they're insane. "You all could have died!" Starfire says that she's sorry, but they need to keep moving. Their mission is one of life and death. Jessica then asks if that's the case, why didn't the League say anything? Cyborg walks on, stating that it's because this isn't a League mission. When Cthulhu was destroyed, his mother box was still plugged into the artificial intelligence database. However, the one question that was never answered is why the Cthulhuans shrunk and hid away these worlds. Each of them heard something calling in the back of their minds, something telling them to come here. But where here is anyone's guess. At that moment, a rock monster bursts out of the ground but is quickly destroyed by a pair of twisting beams. A voice then tells them it is because I was the one who called you here. As Darkseid steps over the dead creature, he goes on stating, between the three of us, we will search for the answers to our purpose in the universe. I have those answers. Your place is with me. Cyborg changes his arm into a cannon, asking, you are the voice telling us all to come here? And Darkseid tells him, yes, and right now it is imperative that you trust me. When my father was the Lord of Apocalypse and waged war with New Apocalypse, he used to tell me about a prophecy. It seemed like a story just to frighten me, but once that source wall fell, I knew the story was true. These worlds were hidden for a reason. Someone wanted the knowledge of these worlds hidden because the old gods they worshipped. For thousands of years, the souls here have prayed for them to return, and now they have. You are the old gods. It is your destiny to save the ghost sector. That is why I have called on the goddess, the machine, and the angel to bring forth a new age of the multiverse. Cyborg opens fire, telling him there isn't a chance that we would work with you, but Darkseid reflects it, shouting, you must listen! Azrael jumps in to attack, but Darkseid blocks it, telling him, I was expecting a bit more. An assassin for Saint Dumas. Batman would be disappointed! Starfire gets ready to attack, but Darkseid throws Azrael into her, so Jessica Cruz steps up, stating, the last I heard about you, you were a little baby. As her construct of hydras coil around Darkseid, he yells that she does not belong in the grand scheme of destiny. The prophecy of the old gods returning tells only of three. The multiverse needs them, therefore so do I. More importantly, you will need me. As Darkseid breaks free from Jessica's grip, he charges at Cyborg, lifting him into the air, slamming him back down, telling him, the clock is ticking. If you will not take my word, then I will show you. The ground begins to crumble, revealing a temple below, with Darkseid telling them to witness the temple at which one of the trinity of the old gods is worshipped on this forbidden world. Everyone looks down into the pit to see a giant statue of Starfire and dozens of worshippers dead around it. Cyborg asks why would he do this, and Darkseid says that this massacre occurred before either of them entered the ghost sector. Cyborg gets up asking, what do you really want? And as he gets up, all Cyborg sees is the others rushing to his side, asking if he's okay. With no sign of Darkseid around, everyone jumps down to investigate the dead bodies. And just when Starfire heads down, a voice speaks in an alien dialect, asking if that's Coriander. The surviving alien rushes out, continuing to speak, but Jessica tells everyone not to worry. Ring, do your thing and translate. As the alien speaks, his words can be understood, and he tells them that if their goddess is here, then the final darkness must truly be upon them. Starfire asks what happened, why do they worship her so, and the alien asks, is this a test? A test of my faith? Follow me and I will show you of my love for you through our teachings. In the inner chambers, the alien explains that they all dedicated their lives to her, for she led them to a life of happiness and love. They followed her teachings and it gave them life. Family and friendship mattered to her and to them. Their world was happy. But then the demon came and they were trapped in limbo in a menagerie of glass. For eons they did not die, but they did not live until they were freed from limbo and thrown into hell. The world changed for the worse. The air burned and they were ravaged by famine, but they still had their faith. They gathered here to pray, but they assumed that they did something wrong to anger her and that she was punishing them. And that's when the angels finally came. They believed that they were saved, that they were strong. Instead of salvation, the angels brought the end of their people looking for something. The angels didn't get it, which is why they must take it. The door begins to open up and the alien goes on stating that every waking moment since his birth, it has been in honor to her, dedicated to learn all that he could of the multiversal key. It has been locked away here since before the fourth wall. It is a key to not just their universe, but to others, and whoever controls it can bring about great change. He has protected the relic because he knew that she would come for it. And now that she has, his faith has been rewarded. Starfire flies in closer, looking at it, asking if this is what Darkseid was after. It is writing on it and she does not recognize it. The alien tells her that she can. All she needs to do is connect with her mind, bless him by allowing him to pass on their knowledge. Starfire kneels down to the alien, stating that she will, and then begins to concentrate. And after a few moments, she stands up, taking the relic, stating that she can understand their language now. She could see more than one language on it. It speaks of the creation of the Ghost Sector. It must be the same prophecy that Darkseid told them about, of a war, of a new... But before she could finish, her power flares up, and Jessica's ring indicates that the planetary integrity has been compromised. Starfire begins to shout in pain, telling everyone to get back, that something is wrong. The priest had something inside of him, a darkness. It is too much. Her powers, she cannot control them. As Starfire is overheating, Jessica yells at her, asking, "What's wrong?" And Cyborg tells her that the priest, when he transferred his memories, must have infected Starfire with something. He might be able to stop her, but he fires a sonic blast to disrupt the language center of her brain, and then she comes crashing down to the ground. She asks what's wrong with her, and Cyborg says that they'll need to figure that out later. Right now, we gotta move. Jessica's ring then indicates that the planetary metamorphosis is underway. Please leave immediately. Azrael asks if her ring just said that there is a planetary metamorphosis happening. Yeah, this can't be good, right? Cyborg grabs a hold of Starfire and everyone starts running out of the collapsing temple and towards Brainiac's ship. Cyborg says that he can get it off the ground, but it'll take some time to repair the tech. Jessica focuses her willpower on her Green Lantern ring, stating that she refuses to die this far from home, and she creates a giant launch pad along with boosters for the ship. Moments later, Brainiac's ship begins to take off for the sky, with Azrael stating that the planet isn't being destroyed. It's almost like it's forming a cocoon. Perhaps the relic can tell them why. It's covered in different languages and Darkseid led them right to it. Jessica then turns to this team asking, "Who cares? That thing turned Starfire into a walking bomb and we just brought it on board our ship." Meanwhile, over at another planet in the Ghost Sector, a group of aliens begin to run from something, and one breaks away from the group heading down a dark alley. The alien says that he has to hide, and then his foot is snared and he is strung upside down. Footsteps can be heard, and a voice tells him that they have gone through a lot of trouble in this world of sin. Whispers across the Ghost Sector call that he is a seer, that he had a vision of the old god's return. What else did he witness? The alien yells, "Nothing, honest." And then the voice says that they will see for themselves. And with that, he stabs the alien. After a few moments, a man walks away stating that if the old gods are here to save them, then a war will follow. And he hopes that they can hear his prayers and that Azrael will appear. For he, Rapture, is Azrael's loyal servant. A short while later, over at a different planet, Cyborg and the others land Brainiac's ship to try and look for the Colluvian parts to repair it. But Jessica suggests that they just stay back while she looks. They can't really have the old gods just wandering about, right? Cyborg says that Azrael will at least follow, and he'll take Starfire back inside so that they can figure out what's wrong with her. And that's when there's a sudden bang. Cyborg jumps to his feet, turning his arm into a cannon, yelling, "Whoever you are, you better identify yourself before you get blasted in the face." An alien backs up, yelling, "Don't shoot, I'm unarmed! The ship just looked warm. Ever since we were freed, our world only gets colder. And as for the Tamaran, I know what's wrong with her. I was a medic. Well, I used to be. A plague broke out when our world was freed. I can cure her." Back outside, Jessica talks about how the Justice League helped get most of the Colluvian refugees off-world in the escape shuttles. But when the Ghost Sector was created, the Colluvian refugees' ship was lost. Maybe they can find it. Just then, a snake-like alien springs out asking, "Did you want Collu? I can get you Collu. Name's Vogue. But I can get you some Colluvian tech. It'll cost you though. Come this way." Jessica and Azrael follow Vogue. But when they get to his little area, he says that they will make the Colluvian pay. After their world was destroyed, they were lost. He sent a signal to draw them in, and now, not so lost. "We have purpose again. Working for me, we will find the parts that you need." Vogue turns back, cracking a whip on the Colluvians, whispering, "You didn't leave your sword in the ship, right?" Vogue cracks the whip again, yelling, "You're all trash! Thinking you're so smart." Azrael jumps in, cutting the whip, stating that he will not witness anyone be enslaved, no matter the world. As Jessica enrages the slavers, a few moments pass and a voice calls out that they leave them for 2 minutes and you're already fighting. As Cyborg and Starfire join the fight, the alien that helped watches, stating that they're working together. Exactly as I planned. And that's when the camouflage fades and Darkseid steps away. Once Cyborg blasts the slavers away, the Coluans run up to him, stating that he saved them. The machine has returned! Praise the machine! Cyborg tells them that he isn't who they think he is, but across the way, Volg takes out his holo communicator, stating, "These damn outsiders! Call Rapture!" As Rapture answers, he says that this better be good, and Volg tells him that he may have just found the old gods here on the wreckage world. Rapture says that that's odd that the machine went there. He searched nearly all the worlds in the ghost sector and thought that this would be where they'd be. Rapture then closes the call and looks up at the massive statue of Cyborg in the middle of the city. Meanwhile, back on Wreckage World, all of the aliens are surrounding Cyborg chanting, "Machine, machine, machine!" And Cyborg steps back stating, "Please, I am not your god." One of the aliens pulls down his hood, stating that he must go to the machine worlds. His following is strong there. He can heal them. Cyborg says that they are not going anywhere unless they bring all of the people from this world there. If they can do that, then they will all go to the machine worlds. So, a short while later, in the Machine World major city, Jessica asks if they're seeing this, and Cyborg looks at his statue, stating, "Yeah, and it's not something I care for." As the ship lands, the alien from the Wreckage World says that he will guide them to the highest priest, that he is the true believer who built himself in the machine's image. He will be happy to see. At that moment, a voice calls out that they will be the judge of that. His name is the Programmer, caretaker of the machine's glorious legacy. There have been so many that have claimed to be the machine reborn. The others were punished for their falsehoods. At that moment, the Programmer's drones surround the group and they blast everyone to the ground. The Programmer tells the alien who brought everyone there that they will be rewarded, that they will know for certain once they begin their test. Elsewhere, out in the ghost sector, Darkseid is continuing his manipulation, walking through the ruins, stating, "The power of Apocalypse visited this world long ago, when I was a child for the first time, and it left its mark." As Darkseid walks towards the door with the Omega symbol on it, a hooded woman tells him that this is her kingdom, and she will only tell him this once. Leave! Darkseid tells her, "You will assist and aid me, then I will make you more than the Queen of Ruins." The woman fires a blast, but Darkseid deflects it by holding up his arm. "Calm yourself, Blackfire. Not everything is about you." As Blackfire removes her hood and flies over, she says that she has ventured past the ruins of her own world and witnessed that there are some who worship her sister as some kind of false god. The whole multiverse has gone mad, if they believe that to be true. Darkseid tells her that it has. But within that madness, there are opportunities. Tamaran was the last world hidden by the Coluans, locked away so that its secrets could never be revealed. But back on Machine World, Cyborg begins to open up his eyes, asking where is he? That's when the sounds of chanting and cheering can be heard, and as Cyborg looks around at the arena that he has been placed in, the Programmer yells, "Welcome to the test. Are you our god or a false prophet?" Cyborg then looks at the axe fashioned on his arm and he asks, "What the hell did you do to my hand?" At that moment, Azrael rides out on a mech dinosaur, telling Cyborg that it seems that we have to fight, and if we don't, all these people that we're trying to save will kill us. Cyborg shouts, asking, "What? We can't fight?" But Azrael charges in, slashing, telling him, "We have no choice. The people need to believe that you are their god, so make it look good, okay?" Cyborg punches Azrael back, ripping the axe off of his arm, telling him, "I'm not playing by their rules. My toys are better." He steps back, gathering his energy, releasing a massive explosion, blowing everyone away, telling them, "You're about to see just how high-tech my suit really is." As the smoke clears, Cyborg stands on the mountain of broken dinosaur robots, telling them all that there is nothing that can beat his tech. His tech is the highest in the multiverse. The crowd begins to cheer, chanting, "Cyborg, Cyborg, Cyborg." So he turns to the chanting and gives them a loud, "Booyah!" A short while later, the drones bring Azrael back and they throw him into a holding cell, with the others stating that this human is no longer needed. Starfire clenches her fist, stating that this has gone on long enough. No more pretending. They will understand that Cyborg is not the only one that the Ghost Sector worshipped. After blasting through the drones and breaking out of the holding cells, the three begin to make their escape as more drones come to secure them. The drones shout that there is no escape from the machine worlds. You will not harm the machine. And at that moment, a Rapture tears through the group yelling, "The machine is no god, and neither are you, princess." As he swings his sword, Azrael blocks it, telling him to stop. The armor that he's wearing, it once belonged to me. Who are you? Rapture tells him that he has taken the name Rapture in his honor. He has searched for him, the avenging angel, agent of the Bat. My god, I am your loyal servant. Azrael asks, wait, I have my own worshiper now? It's about time! Back inside, Cyborg walks with the programmer as he explains that they have been seeking to bring peace between the sectors, that they are planning to spread the message of the machine to all the others. Cyborg asks what is that message, and the programmer tells him that being a machine is better. Now it can be viewed as sacrilegious, but we weren't sure that you'd reveal yourself to us, so we built this. Cyborg looks up at the display and asks if they are building a mother box. The programmer tells him that that is how they honor him, but it will do more than connect the worlds together. It will take the form of our maker. For us to truly survive the Ghost Sector, we must be transformed like our maker was, into cyborgs. Cyborg is stunned, he pauses and he asks them, wait, you want to be like me? Programmer goes on explaining that this box is connected to every bit of information available in the Ghost Sector, and with that knowledge they can ascend to a higher state, just as he has. Once fully activated, it will convert everyone in the Ghost Sector to their way of thinking, their order. Cyborg sighs, telling them that he can't let them do that. He refuses to make anyone like him. He struggled for so long to find himself within this body. It's a curse. Programmer says that they have tried so many different solutions and they have all failed. This is how they program themselves to be closer to him. This is the only way to save the worlds stolen by the Cthulhu. And with these worlds now freed, yet still restrained, can't he see what's coming? There will be a war. This sector is a ticking clock of doom. And once the rest of the worlds learn that the old gods have returned, the battle over who the true god will be unlike anything that they have seen. No one will survive. There are no alternatives to this. Back on Tamaran, Blackfire opens up the vaults to the tomb, stating that she does not know what can be found here. The royal tombs have been sealed for many lifetimes. Darkseid steps forward towards the pool before him, telling him, my race has long foreseen that this reality would one day end. That the multiverse itself would shatter and die. My father told me such stories. A contingency plan was made to ensure that the new gods would not perish, even if Apocalypse fell. And through our power, reality could be preserved. As Darkseid submerges himself, Blackfire asks how he can be so sure that some of that plan was hidden here. Before going under, Darkseid tells her, because I hid it here myself. Back on the machine world, there's an explosion in the inner chambers as Starfire and the others are blasting their way in, with Cyborg asking why he is seeing two Azraels. Cyborg tells him that the other is calling himself Rapture. They'll explain after they escape the machine world. Cyborg says, no, my followers are building their own mother box. If I plug myself into it, I could learn everything about the Ghost Sector, maybe even why Darkseid is here. But before Cyborg can plug in, the programmer begins to collect machine parts, shouting, nothing will stop the machine god from giving us our ascension. It is our only hope for survival. The programmer lashes out at Azrael and Rapture, and as they catch themselves, Jessica calls out that they've got drones incoming. Cyborg hurries to the mother box, stating that he can put a stop to all of this, and Starfire shouts for him not to do it, but Cyborg says that he knows the risk, but they need to trust him. As he begins to connect, he starts to pull in the data that he thinks will let him know why the Cthulhuans hid these worlds. They were, oh no, I know what Darkseid is planning. He lied to us. He's building a new apocalypse, a death world bigger and more powerful than the original, to serve as a bridgehead for the invasion and conquest of our universe, into all of the universes. The Ghost Sector worlds are the building blocks that he needs. The Cthulhuans knew what he was planning. They were trying to stop him. Oh God, we let the worlds out. We led Darkseid right to them. Everything that he needs for a multiversal domination and a return to power is here. Azrael yells for the others to make sure to keep the giant robot away from Cyborg, but Rapture says to just leave him. They're not like us. We aren't gods. Together we can bring vengeance to the Ghost Sector. I visited many of the worlds in the Ghost Sector searching for you. I have killed in your name. Starfire's followers, even they knew they lived in a hell. Azrael swings at Rapture asking, "You were the one? The priest said that the angels came." Starfire shouts that he is the one who's been killing her followers because they didn't believe in what he believes. Murderer! She fires at Rapture and Azrael deflects it, stating, "No, we've already dealt enough in war." And Rapture goes on telling them that there will be more sacrifices to come, that if they wish to save the Ghost Sector, Lord Azrael, come with me. We can deliver salvation, and I promise that you will find your peace. Azrael spins back, hitting Rapture with his fist, telling him, "No, if you believe that that's what would bring peace, then you betrayed me, Rapture." Rapture throws a smoke pellet on the ground, telling him, "No, it is you who betrayed everything, Azrael." And while Cyborg is still hanging, locked up in the mother box, Starfire tells Azrael to save him. They'll provide the cover. Azrael jumps into the air, grabbing a hold of Cyborg, trying to pry him off of the mother box, but the programmer gets in close, so Cyborg uses the box to blast into the programmer and his giant mechanical suit. Meanwhile, back on Tamaran, Darkseid emerges from the pool and Blackfire tells him that he was down there for quite a while. As she offers her hand, Darkseid smacks it away, telling her, "Your concern is not wanted or needed. I have concealed the component parts of my plan throughout what is known as the Ghost Sector, and one vital piece coordinates their functions: the other box." As Darkseid pulls out the chaotic box, he opens up a portal, telling Blackfire, "Thank you for your assistance. I will not trouble your world again." She says that he better remember his pledge, and Darkseid smiles. "Oh, I will. The future will not save itself." And in our epilogue, Rapture walks to his bunker, stating that like many of his people, after Kalu's destruction, he was stranded. But he knew the Ghost Sector's destiny. He found their Lord Azrael and begged him to save them. He refused. As Rapture pulls down his hood, he reveals himself to be Cove Maul, the one who tried to tell the Green Lantern to Paul before she left. After her death, he turned his back on science and started to believe that Azrael is a god. But they were wrong to put faith in him. Now he knows that if they want to save the Ghost Sector, the Order of Azrael must kill the old gods. Those who survived the initial catastrophe said that it happened without warning. They were wrong. There had been warnings for trillions of years, prophecies and predictions and speculations made from 1,000 different cultures. Most were ignored or dismissed as a myth. Only one being in all reality had believed them: Darkseid. And Darkseid is displeased. Within the Ghost Sector lays the planet Aelon, a primitive backwater world. For the past several days, the Anut tribals have served as guides, leading Darkseid to this particular remote and sacred site, but no longer. Darkseid now fights them as they suddenly manifest combat technologies advanced enough to wound a new god, and that is far beyond Anut capabilities. As the Anut surround Darkseid, they all begin to say the same thing: deny Darkseid, prevent Sepulchor. But they say it in a very specific way and tone. Darkseid laughs to himself, stating that this must be a gift left by Brainiac, a unique weapon system set to guard the prize. However, Darkseid will not be stopped. Even though Darkseid should be able to overcome this fight, something does stop him though. Something happens. A detonation, a release, very distant beyond the Ghost Sector, but of such magnitude that it sears his other box-enhanced senses. Reality shatters in the event that he has been striving for his whole life. The one that he has been trying to prevent, or at least outrun, has just taken place. But moments before this, just within the vicinity of the planet Tamaran, in Brainiac's skull ship, Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz, who accidentally got swept up into this, shouts that they are not doing this. They are turning around now. Darkseid has been using all of them. They were duped into even coming here. And worse yet, he is rebuilding his seat of power. A new apocalypse, and they are giving him everything that he needs to rebuild it, and they can't even see it! Starfire dismisses Jessica's words, stating that they are not leaving before they visit Tamaran. Jessica says that she gets it. Brainiac took Tamaran and she wants to save it. But this is bigger than them now. They need the Justice League. They need to find and stop Darkseid. Cyborg stops her before she can continue, telling her that they know, which is why they are going to Tamaran. Darkseid is there. The machine world's mother box showed them as much. They have to stop him. Besides, there is no exit. The maelstrom surrounding the ghost sector cannot be traversed, so they have to do this their way. Jessica scoffs, stating that she will find a way back home on her own then, and once she does. But at that moment, there's a shockwave of energy throwing the ship off course. Even though he doesn't understand it, Cyborg has seen it before. It reads like the totality. Source energy from beyond the wall. Back on Aelon, Darkseid is fighting his way through his injuries, through his pains. Because he is on automatic, his mind is elsewhere. He sees what the other box is showing him, the cascading collapse of the source wall, a bow wave of energy hammering across the hyper-continuum. It's the biggest event since the birth of the multiverse, a spectacle that he might have relished under different circumstances. And Darkseid knows what to follow will still be bigger. Far worse. The end of all things, a final darkness that he will not permit. He sees the shockwave reaching New Genesis. The world is gone in a blink. Then Apocalypse, its fire pits engulfed. Gone. The new gods are gone. All except Darkseid. Because Darkseid is. And while he draws breath, there is still time. That time is just shorter than he would have liked. Meanwhile, over on Tamaran, the smoke finally clears from the Skull ship as 4 heroes check on each other to make sure that they are still alive. Starfire and Azrael get up to check things on the outside, while Cyborg tells Jessica that she might not like it, but they need her right now. They aren't going to stand a chance unless they... Jessica stops him, telling him that it's not that. There is something else preventing her. She hasn't been able to recharge her ring since coming here. She hasn't had access to her battery. She's at about 40%, and every construct drains it further. They cannot rely on her. But before they could try to come up with a plan, Starfire screams from the outside at the sight of her homeworld, broken and burning. She shouts to many to know who did this. Was it Darkseid? If so, then he shall pay! However, a voice tells her that this destruction was caused by her. She is the one who did this. Starfire quickly looks up at Blackfire with dozens of Tamaran soldiers surrounding, asking, "What? How could I have..." Blackfire points down, stating whether it is a new god or false god, whatever you're calling yourself these days, you did this. Starfire looks up asking where is Darkseid, and Blackfire tells her gone, boomed away once he was done here. Cyborg then steps forward, stating that they are here to stop him. And Blackfire asks, "Really? I highly doubt that. You are nothing more than puppet gods. Darkseid did not do this. The instability of the sector ruined Tamaran." Starfire then asks again, where did Darkseid go, and did she help him? They must know. Blackfire looks away, stating that Darkseid promised to spare Tamaran, to leave her to rebuild this planet, but this? He so generously left her a dying world that was about to burn away. Which is why she must stop Darkseid, stop them. And if she can remove one of those missing pieces, something so vital to Darkseid's plan, then she has no choice, even if it means killing her own sister. You will not leave Tamaran alive, Starfire. Back in Aelon, the last of Brainiac's weapons is slain, and Darkseid prevails. The next relic is his, another segment of the ancient plan. But unlike the prior relics, there is something about this. There is a voice, something calling to him. Darkseid demands to know who dares, but in his mind he knows. And then something is beginning to manifest. The voices belong to Eschaton, the carrion eaters of the anti-life. It is said that they would come when the fourth world was dying to pick bare the bones of the new gods. Darkseid tells the voices that the other new gods may be gone, but as they can see, Darkseid is. The Eschaton tell him no. And as they skewer him to the ground, they tell him, Darkseid was. Back on Tamaran, Blackfire's soldiers quickly begin their attack, forcing the heroes to shield themselves and take cover. Cyborg calls out to hit back, but only use suppressive fire, clear a path to the ship. And as Jessica puts up her construct, she says that she is trying her best, and Azrael says that these warriors are not going to let them leave. But that's when Starfire says that she came here to save Tamaran and her sister, her own sister. And without another word, Starfire gives into her base urges, allowing the rage to take over, and she begins to rip apart the battlefield. After carving a way to Blackfire, she charges in, stating, "Some welcome, sister! Is this how you treat your own blood?" The two clash, releasing a shockwave, shaking the very core of the planet. Through the struggle, Starfire grabs Blackfire by the throat, asking if this is how it's going to be, how their sibling rivalry will end. But before Starfire could attack, Cyborg throws himself in the middle, splitting the two of them, telling Starfire, "You need to stop now, please." Soon the light returns to Starfire's eyes, and she asks, What is she doing? Oh, Azrael, no! We need to stop all of this! We need to share what information we have about Darkseid to stop him once and for all. Cyborg tells her no. They're leaving right now. There is nothing to be gained from staying. Starfire pleads with him that they need to stay, but Blackfire tells them to go. There's nothing to say. Keep the word of their Dark Master and never return. Once the team takes off, Jessica asks, what? He harvested data from the Tamarans without them knowing? And Cyborg tells her yes. During the fight, he sent out a drone to hack the military database and took the intel that they needed. Tracking data, Darkseid's exit route. They now know where he is. Later on Aelon, Darkseid groans as he tries to get back up, but as he turns his head, he asks if they came to finish him off. Oh. Azrael asks what the hell happened here. And Cyborg says that he doesn't really care. They're gonna find out what he's been doing to them since they got here. Darkseid lets out a half-hearted laugh as he leans against a tree, stating, "You found only death." Cyborg transforms his arm into a cannon, asking, "Is that a threat?" Darkseid says, "Not for me. They're still here, close, stalking. They'll always return stronger." But as Jessica begins to ask what is he talking about, she hears something, and she turns back, stating, "Guys?" The Eschaton close in, stating that it looks like the new god made his toys protect him. They shall devour them all. As everyone attacks, Cyborg notices that all of their attacks seem to be absorbed. What are the Eschaton? Darkseid tells him that they are the demons of myth, carrion eaters of the anti-life. It is foretold that they would manifest at the death of the fourth world and devour the last of the new gods. And he being the last of his kind. They have come to end me. But as everyone is trying to fight them, Starfire waits. Darkseid stands up, asking Starfire why does she hesitate. Their Green Lantern friend is weak right now, yet she hurls herself headfirst. Starfire yells because her powers cannot be trusted, thanks to him. Darkseid tells her that if that is the case, then your friends will die, you will die, I will die, and you will still have no answers. Time is shorter than I had hoped. There is nothing left now but the truth. Protect me and I will give you the truth. Starfire clenches her fist, stating that her sister trusted him. She, however, is not so easily convinced, but she will not let her friends die. She flies through, releasing her power in a controlled manner, and within moments, the Eschaton are dispatched. As blood continues to pour from Darkseid, he gets up, stating that they are but banished. They will return stronger, they always do. Cyborg says that he tricked them every step of the way, he used them. Why should they believe a word from him now? And Darkseid tells him because, in his weakened state, trickery is all he had. Because their kind never trusts him. For the first time in his life, he must deal directly. No more guile, no more lies. Starfire holds up her glowing hand, stating, "Good. Explain now." So after they secured Darkseid, he said that this is foolish. But Cyborg tells him that he respectfully disagrees. First things first, the Ghost Sector has the raw materials to build a new apocalypse. That's why the Coluans hid these worlds, to stop Darkseid. Darkseid tells him, "You interpreted the data incorrectly. I seek nothing but the preservation of life itself." Well, yes, I was seeking to restore my power to be Darkseid again. There is more. I am a cosmic force. I am order amid chaos. I shall show you. What I attempted to manifest is a device, not a weapon. It is called the Other Box. It will reveal through quantum imaging what your kind calls the big picture. As Darkseid summons the Other Box, images of horror and catastrophes not yet seen begin to be shown. Beings that they don't know yet are peering in from the near future with plans of their own. Secrets of universal Armageddon that Darkseid's long-awaited truth is finally unlocking. And the heroes are stunned. Darkseid goes on, stating that the Source Wall has fallen. The Fourth Age has ended. Apocalypse and New Genesis are no more. The death spiral of the multiverse has begun. Long ago, his culture predicted this event, a final darkness, and he spent millennia preparing contingency plans to defy it, and they must now be enacted without delay. That is why he brought the three of them to the Ghost Sector. It and they are vital parts of his plan. Their fates have been prepared by the hyper-time planning of the other box. Cyborg, the technological transmuter, Starfire, the fire of creation, and Azrael, the voice that binds. The other box reached through hypertime to establish their myths across the worlds of the Ghost Sector, laid the foundations of their godhood. Azrael asks why, and then the projections change again into something else, with Darkseid stating, "Because you were chosen to undertake this task and work by my side, completing and activating Sepulchor. I must become a true cosmic being again. Only at full power can I operate the Sepulchor." Cyborg stops him. "That's what exactly? A new apocalypse?" And Darkseid tells him, "No, it is an ark, a lifeboat. In your vernacular, a panic room to protect those from the source wall disaster. This is the new god's contingency against the death of the multiverse. The worlds of the Ghost Sector have been seeded with relics akin to the other box in the multiversal key, which can combine to activate Sepulchor, a bastion to protect life from a source detonation. You must help me find these relics. I am weak, too hurt. There is no time to waste." Jessica yells, "That's bull! This isn't about saving anyone but yourself." And Darkseid tells her, "That is untrue. Only I can do this. Nothing can be saved without Darkseid. Life needs me. The source wall collapse is an unimaginable catastrophe. Most of the multiverse will not survive. Sepulchor will. Sepulchor will protect the Ghost Sector. There alone, life will survive. Thus, life will prevail even after the multiverse ends." Cyborg tells him, "That's not good enough. We're not saving ourselves and watching the rest of creation die. We have to do more." And Starfire tells him, "But it is a start. We can save the Ghost Sector, a sector that we doomed. And if we do that, it is a start. And if we could save some, we could find a way to save the rest, right?" Darkseid tells her, "Without Sepulchor active, the Ghost Sector dies. Then they will not be alive to save anything else." Jessica yells, "Nope, no way. Why would you have any interest in saving life?" Darkseid continues, "Because without life, then I am nothing. My power is meaningless without anything upon which to exert it. This situation is far beyond your feeble notions of heroes and village. Your kind has done as much as I ever have to damage the multiverse and weaken it. You broke the source wall. It is time for you to make amends. There is still time, and it is time for me to be Darkseid and do what only I can do. A feat beyond even the greatest of your infamous breed." After a few moments of silence, Starfire asks, "What do you need from us?" Cyborg asks, "What is she even thinking?" And Darkseid says that they must collect the remaining relics. He is unable to accomplish that task alone. So Cyborg asks, "You don't want to help him, do you?" Starfire says that she doesn't trust him, nor will she ever. But if there is a technology here that can provide salvation for life and he can lead them to it, then they need to take that chance. At that moment, the projections shatter, and Darkseid shouts for them to release him. They must leave this black rock and begin their work at once. They cannot be detained by. But at that moment, out of the sky, the Tamaran grab troops and Rapture with his followers begin to descend from the skies in a full-on assault. Everyone quickly gets into defensive positions, with Darkseid yelling to free him. They cannot do this without him, and they cannot survive without him. Just then, a stray blast hits Darkseid's restraints, setting him free. Cyborg runs over to try and stop him, but the other box activates and the two boom tube away. Starfire yells, asking where Cyborg went, and Jessica says that he just vanished. "We have to get out of here now, Starfire!" Azrael asks, "These are my worshippers? Don't they know me?" Rapture leaps into the air, stating that they know who they are. Who they all are. Blackfire then says that they are the old gods, the false gods, the destroyers, the instruments of Darkseid. And while the armies close in, Azrael tells himself, "I must know myself. I must find the strength from within, where I've always felt it. Have faith and speak my truth." With one final slash, he yells out, "Stop! Cease! You will cease this!" with a commanding tone. "You will stop. We are not your foes. The return of the old gods has inflamed the Ghost Sector, yet it was meant to bring peace." Soon everyone, the Tamarans and the Azraelites alike, stop upon hearing Azrael speak. And as Starfire helps Jessica up, she asks if this is him. She can feel the power of his words. Is this the voice that binds? Meanwhile, over on Apocrypha, Cyborg falls out of the portal, but he doesn't see Darkseid. Soon, the mother box inside of Cyborg begins to ping, and as Cyborg follows the signal, he sees a temple with the Omega symbol on it. Cyborg scoffs, stating that there is no question who built that, but it must have been built years ago. He walks up the stairs into a dimly lit stone hall, yelling, "Show yourself! I'm not playing your games!" As Cyborg turns on his chest light, he sees several giant bugs, all infected with Brainiac's tech that state, "Deny Darkseid, prevent Sepulchor." Meanwhile, back on the battlefield, everyone including Blackfire begins to kneel before Azrael, yelling, "Why are we bowing? This is a trick!" She then launches herself forward to an attack, and as she gets close, Azrael tells her, "Be calm, Blackfire." With no will of her own, she kneels before him, stating, "You lie! You lie!" Jessica then says that she isn't complaining since, they're alive. But how are you doing this, Azrael? Azrael tells her that he may have always been able to do this. He just never had enough faith in himself before to speak the truth. Rapture asks, "What is that truth, Lord Azrael? Speak it, so that we may know it." Azrael turns back to see those kneeling, and he states, "You've all believed yourselves to be trapped in this ghost sector, shut off from the outer reality. But in truth, this place is a place of sanctuary, the last stronghold of creation. Doom comes to the universe, all will end, and here alone life may prevail. Go forth from here and fight for peace. Defend this sector from the harbingers of the Armageddon, from the demon forces of the multiverse, from the carrion kind that gather to feast upon the universal destruction, from those who come to tear down our walls and leave us defenseless." Rapture says that these deeds will be done in his name. Azraelite and Tamaran alone will stand together. Prepare the warships for departure. Starfire then goes over to Blackfire, stating that Azrael's words seem to have reached her. She was so blinded by anger, but now they can work together too. Blackfire yells as she cries out that she does not know why she bowed. His words seem to make sense, but she had no choice. Can't she see? He's Darkseid's apostle, a manufactured god. Starfire says that they're trying to help people, as Azrael said. Blackfire then activates her teleporter, asking, "So he's your master now? I weep for you all and will not be a part of this. Goodbye, sister." Meanwhile, back on Apocrypha, Cyborg begins to fend off the alien bugs while his mother box begins to ping in the direction of something. The aliens quickly begin to overtake him, but then Cyborg releases his shield, blasting the aliens back, yelling, "Get these things off of me!" As he flies up, he turns back, unloading his payload, giving himself time to follow the signal. The pings begin to become more rampant, and as Cyborg scans the area, he sees a relic just below his feet and he begins to carve it out. More aliens appear, so Cyborg puts up a shield, focusing on extracting the relic. As he looks back, he notices the creatures all merging together and a giant beast stands up before him. It slams down on his shield, so Cyborg stating that this won't hold for long. "We need to hurry." As the beast punches down, it states, "Extreme measures required. Detonation systems enabled. Antimatter bomb will annihilate the site in 10 seconds. Once the hole is finished, Cyborg quickly reaches in for the relic with a massive zoom as a pillar of red light explodes. As the smoke clears, Cyborg floats, shielded by the relic, stating that he understands now. He sees it. There's no time to waste. That's why Darkseid took off and left him. He trusted him. A few moments later, Cyborg opens up another boom tube, pulling out the skull ship, and he climbs aboard, telling everyone that he's sorry for the turbulence. The relic that he just picked up seemed to have boosted his mother box. It looks like he can now generate limited boom tubes. Basically, accessing the data network connected all the relics, which means that this trip is a little cruder and more painful for organic forms. Jessica looks at him and tells him, "You have active boom tube capabilities. Then we can just get out of here, right?" Cyborg says that he's afraid not. He can't take them past the maelstrom, just relic to relic inside of the sector. That is exactly what they need. It's good to see you, friend. And you brought us a relic that forms a key to all others of its kind. We must examine it further. Cyborg last stating that it sounds like they all presume Darkseid's plan to be sound. Collecting the relics, completing Sepulchor. Starfire interrupts him, yelling, "Of course it's sound! The stakes could not be higher, Cyborg!" Azrael walks off of the relic, stating that he will extract the coordinates of the next relic and set the ship's navigation for that source. Cyborg then tells them that he has been a terrible leader, but he's going to make amends. What Darkseid told them is correct. Sepulchor is their only hope for preservation of the entire universal life. This is why they will collect the relics and then decide if they're going to hand those powers to Darkseid. He's only going to use them for his own purposes. Starfire says that they would betray him, and Cyborg says why not? He's tricked us every step of the way. We can't be sure what his ultimate goal is yet. Azrael says, of course. You are a leader after all, Cyborg. But as Starfire and Azrael walk off, Jessica whispers to Cyborg that she's worried about Azrael and Starfire. They both seem... Cyborg tells her it's okay. They've got the edge now. They've got this. And as he turns back to head to the group, Jessica whispers to her ring, analyze power reserves needed to restrain and take down Azrael, Starfire, and Cyborg. It has been 2 weeks since the makeshift Justice League set out to collect the relics of the Ghost Sector for Darkseid. But what Darkseid doesn't know is that the heroes are planning to use those relics against him in an attempt to take control of Sepulchor, the panic room that will survive the coming multiversal collapse. Right now, the team is split. Jessica Cruz finds herself on an alien planet known as Magmatha with Azrael. Even with her nearly depleted Green Lantern ring, Jessica has found means to combat Brainiac's forces guarding the relics with a salvaged Tamaranian assault cannon. However, for Azrael, his power only grows as being the voice that binds, being an intimidating figure and instrument of justice and faith. The thing is, the power that Azrael is gaining is what is worrying Jessica Cruz. Azrael's commanding voice was given to him by Darkseid, and now he runs the risk of being susceptible to Darkseid's influence. But as the two close in on the relic, Jessica is pulled and thrown to the ground by one of the technologically infected aliens. But as Jessica reaches for her weapon, she begins to wonder if the other half of her team is having just as much of a hard time as she is. Over on Skeltalis, Starfire and Cyborg are in just as much trouble fighting off a group of Escatron in search of their relic. Their issue, though, is just as Darkseid said. Every time the Eschaton come back, they become stronger than before. So much so that Starfire is now having a hard time keeping up. As one of the Carrion Eaters grapples with Cyborg, it tells him that they have chosen their alliance unwisely. Cyborg asks, yeah, we're just gonna have to. But at that moment, the ground beneath Cyborg gives out, and he and the Eschaton plummet into the cavern below. He manages to catch himself in air with his thrusters, but the Eschaton land on a spike, skewering it. Starfire yells over the comms asking if he's alright, but just as Cyborg explains the situation, the Eschaton pulls itself off the spike, lunging at him. Meanwhile, on Magmatha, Jessica's ring is telling her that she only has 7% energy left. She could easily use some of it to free herself from the alien's grasp, but she must not burn out any more of the precious reserves that remain. As she struggles for the cannon, she notices some of the planet's gas flowers being drawn into the residual heat from the recently fired weapon. For this, she only needs a tiny amount of her ring's power. She uses the ring to grab hold of the cannon, pulling the trigger, igniting the gas flowers in a fiery blaze, burning off the tendril that is holding her. She jumps to her feet to grab the weapon and spins around, firing it once more, blasting the alien and destroying it for good. As she dusts herself off, Azrael walks over, stating that the remaining aliens have been destroyed. A nice trick to preserve her powers, though. She tells him that she needs to hold that power for later, when they betray Darkseid. They should just worry about getting the relic and getting the hell out of here. Azrael holds up the relic, telling her that he's already gotten it taken care of. As the two head back towards the ship, Jessica asks how long has it been since he's taken off that mask. Is he keeping his helmet on for a reason? Azrael tells her that he does not wish to remove his mask, and Jessica says that she is sorry. She shouldn't have... Wait, did he just use the voice on her? He asks if he did. He didn't mean to. He would never try controlling her. Please, he's so sorry. She tells him it's not cool. She needs him to be careful. If Darkseid is influencing him, then they have to know. Over at Skeletus, the Eschaton that was focusing on Cyborg gets ready to strike, but then it's obliterated before it can land a hit. Cyborg looks up to see Starfire, asking where did that level of power come from and is she okay? She tells him that she is well. The Eschaton have come back stronger, so she needed to draw more of her new power to stop them. The more she uses it, the easier it is to manage. She can govern and channel it now. Cyborg says yeah, and that's what scares him. The control. She's changing. She's not the Starfire that he knew, and it all feels natural to her. She blasts a hole into the wall, revealing the relic, stating, even still, it does not mean that she won't stand with him when they turn on Darkseid. She does not wish to speak any further of this. A short while later, Cyborg and Starfire boom tube over to Jessica and Azrael, and they add the relics to their now ever-growing stockpile. Jessica looks at them stating that they have 10 total. That's not too shabby. And Cyborg says that they have a lot of power here, maybe enough to take out a new god. Even though they're going to turn these over, these relics have been configured to only respond to his commands. While Starfire and Azrael examine them, Jessica whispers to Cyborg, asking if she could speak with him for a moment. The two leave and Cyborg asks if it's about the new Starfire. He knows. She's changed, but still seems sound. She tells him that it's also Azrael. Darkseid may be influencing them both, but there's no sign of them becoming his puppets. Cyborg laughs. Well, that's reassuring. We should get everyone on the bridge and go over the game plan. The four get ready to discuss what's next, but before they could get in too deep, Cyborg's mother box pings, letting him know that there is a boom tube about to be opened. The group is then transported to a deserted rock, and Cyborg tells everyone to just follow his lead. Remember, they have 10 relics under his control. That should be enough to stop anything, even the high and mighty Lord of Apocalypse. Just then, there's a second boom tube from Darkseid's other box. He steps out with several dozen relics, stating, "Good, you have done your work. Now we can begin." After flying to the main hub of Sepulchor, Starfire whispers to Cyborg, asking when are they going to make their move. Cyborg tells her that they don't know enough yet, so they're gonna have to play it by ear. Darkseid says to follow him. They've retrieved 10 relics. Though it is not all of them, it will have to do. For now, this is just a cold rock, a structure built from excreted mineral ores. Its systems are dormant, and its fire pits await ignition. But an hour from now, this will be Sepulchor. This will be the salvation of universal life. So once the relics are calibrated, their activation will cause a subatomic cascade that will light Sepulchor's systems. 10.6 seconds after that, they will establish a hyper network with the remaining relics scattered throughout the Ghost Sector. The unified system will enclose the entire Ghost Sector in an impenetrable anti-baryonic force field, and this will protect all of the worlds and all life within. Azrael then speaks using the voice, stating that they need assurance that everything he is saying is true but Darkseid looks back at him. "Do not attempt to use your voice. I cannot be gulled by such tricks. Since Aeolon, I have been transparent. Will I benefit from this? Yes, I will. Will it restore me to the power I once had? Yes, more so. Because it is necessary. You need me. You need the Darkseid that I once was, a god, a cosmic force. Should you be afraid of what I will become? Again, I will not lie to you. Yes. Now please, give me a moment to concentrate to complete the relic calibration." As the four heroes leave, Jessica asks how they're going to take down Darkseid and seize control of, but Cyborg stops her, stating it might not be so easy. Darkseid has 50 relics compared to their 10. They are massively outgunned. Jessica asks, so? Darkseid is outnumbered. This is what we agreed on, Cyborg, unless Blackfire was right about you, right about all three of you. Cyborg, Azrael, and Starfire all burst out laughing, stating that they are a part of the Justice League. That's insane that they would have sided with Darkseid. Jessica says, sure, all right, then prove it. Cyborg goes on stating that he does have some reservations. Darkseid is packing 50 relics. That's a crippling power advantage. What happens if in the fight they end up damaging or even destroying some of the relics? Then there's one obvious problem. They don't know how to run Sepulchor. The sheer quantity of data generated by those relics, his mother box is still processing it all. He's barely scratched the surface. Maybe Darkseid's right. Ping. Maybe we do need a cosmic mind like his to master the quantum data. Starfire stops. Did you just say ping? Cyborg pauses, confused. No, it was my mother box. You have no idea the ambient data flow that is trying to mediate right now. I need to get close, analyze the data content of the network that Darkseid's establishing. Wait for my word. If I can run it and feel confident about it, we move. As Cyborg heads back into the inner chambers, he watches Darkseid configuring the relics, asking, are you done? Darkseid tells him just a moment, and then Cyborg's mother box begins to ping again. Darkseid asks if he can perceive now the operation of Sepulchor. Yes? No, not really. Darkseid turns to him. But you want to, don't you? Then try. You have the ability. Comprehend the data field surrounding you. Darkseid steps back and Cyborg resumes his position, trying to process the information, stating 3 relics will achieve conduited unison and initiate the cascade. The cascade then sets up a quantum network linking all of the relics in the Ghost Sector, and that will generate the anti-baronic force field, which, no, he can't even grasp those power levels. Darkseid tells him, you can. Go on. Cyborg goes back to processing, stating that he can't. The ping math is too hard. Darkseid tells him, it ought to be. Think, quasi-particle condensation amplification. Cyborg continues to state that it will amplify the baseline power to 500 times 10 to the power of 51 ergs. That's the equivalent of 50 hypernova. Where does the ping, that kind of power, come from? No, there's no way I can go on. This is way beyond the ability of a human mind to conceive. And Darkseid then asks, why would you understand then? And Cyborg says, because his mother box is interpreting the data, parsed it for him. And Darkseid stops him. It did not. You understood it. Cyborg tells him that there is no way that he could have. It involves a data load beyond any human capacity to, and Darkseid stops him. Exactly. Your whole life since the accident, you feared you were losing your human identity, that Victor Stone was vanishing into the machine. Your fears are misplaced, misdirected. Cyborg asks, what do you ping? What do you mean? Ping, what is happening? Darkseid says that he knows the 10 relics that they obtained have been recoded so that they are under his control. And Cyborg stops him. You knew? Justice League, ping, we're rumbled, move! As everyone gets ready, Darkseid says that Victor Stone could not have recoded those 10 relics, not even after the relic upgrade on Apocrypha. It is a feat beyond human ability. Cyborg changes out his limbs to cannons, asking, are you trying to mess with my head? This ends here! As Darkseid is blasted into the ground, he gets up. Do not be futile! The fears that have haunted you your whole life were not those of a man afraid of being a machine. They were the fears of a machine that was forced to pretend it was human. Why do you think you were chosen? Victor Stone died on the operating table. Victor Stone is a ghost haunting a beautiful machine. There has never been anything human about you. It was an illusion that you cling to. You are a god, a new god. Embrace it. At that moment, Brainiac's skull ship crashes in, landing on top of Darkseid as Starfire and Azrael rush in. Jessica sits back up from the pilot's chair, asking if they got him. Is Darkseid down? And then something begins to rip through the roof, throwing Jessica out. As she cries out Cyborg, Cyborg hovers over her, his face being covered by nothing but his machine body as he states, ping, 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 ping. Starfire rushes over to help, asking what happened to Cyborg, and Jessica tells him that he's gone. Darkseid has done something, and that is not Cyborg anymore. He begins to swap out his limb cannon and focus on everyone, and Starfire yells that they have to save him. Darkseid crawls out of the wreckage, shouting, he cannot be saved. Your reasoning is wrong-headed. Cyborg is saved. He has fulfilled his destiny and taken his place as a new god. Starfire lashes out, focusing her new powers directly on Darkseid, shouting for him to turn Cyborg back, but Darkseid shields himself, stating, I have explained everything. The only subterfuge was on your part, your childish plot to assist me in building the Sepulchor, and then take it. Did you really think that I wouldn't know? Cyborg, activate the relics. Cyborg responds in pings, and as Azrael gets up to attack, Cyborg opens fire on him. Jessica runs over to shield Azrael, but while the three of them are busy, Starfire lunges at Darkseid once more. He stops her, telling her, enough! You will take your fire and your incandescent rage and unleash it where I intend it to be unleashed. As Starfire falls into the pits from before, her fire goes out for just a moment, and then it reignites with such a force that it turns on all of Sepulchor. With Jessica's ring rapidly draining, Azrael removes his mask, telling Rapture that he is needed. Strike in the name of God! Rapture and the Azraelite Crusaders start to rush off the warships, but Darkseid already knew that they were waiting. Azrael and his followers have an unshakable belief in God, a God that will deliver them. But they did not bother to consider who that God might be, and as the Crusaders rush in, they are struck by a force converting them into a new form, para-angels. As Azrael too feels the effects of being converted as his skin is turned from frail flesh to hard gold plating. The rest of Sepulchor comes online, and Darkseid can feel it. His power is returning, not a little bit of it, all of it. He knew that the doom was inevitable, that the source wall would fall, that the new gods in Apocalypse would pass over unto dust. But he would not. He would retain control. He is eternal, defying death and even a cosmic death. Darkseid is. But as Cyborg and Azrael and Starfire take their place beside Darkseid, Jessica Cruz manages to get to her feet, telling him, like hell you are! As they get ready to attack, Darkseid tells them to stay. Do not assault her. Does the Green Lantern have something to say? She yells that she will not let him do this, and Darkseid asks, what? Save lives? Save all the millions of lives in the Ghost Sector? An odd statement for a member of the League to make. Jessica tells him that he only saved them to power and preserve his own life, and she will not let him do it. Darkseid tells her that humans are shallow and crude species. Their qualities, like all humans, are many and poor, except one: courage. Even in the face of all of this, she will not back down. The girl who was once too afraid to leave her house, looking Darkseid in the eye, telling him to stop, without the slightest means of enforcing that demand. Idiotic? Yes, but admirable. I wish, truly, that I had made you a part of the process, for you are only ever an uninvited guest. But I can still allow you a place. There's still time. Let me harness your phenomenal courage alongside these others: the Code, the Fire, and the Faith. They are the three principles of my domain: technology, power, and belief. But a new god of indomitable will would not be unwelcome. Just say the word. Jessica says that she has 2 words for him. Screw you! And with the last of her reserves, she charges forward, punching Darkseid, and with very little effort, he smacks her away. As she lays on the ground broken, her ring tells her that its power levels are at 0. She tries to get up, but Darkseid stomps on her, crushing the Green Lantern ring, telling her, it's just as I thought. Limitless courage and absolutely nothing else. His eyes begin to glow and he fires a concentrated Omega Beam blast at Jessica, incinerating her, leaving hardly anything left. After incinerating Jessica Cruz, Darkseid begins the final phase of activating Sepulchor. 90 light years from the Ghost Sector is the Science Academy of Tamaran Research Center 88Z. This station was built to study the Source Wall, but it was ultimately destroyed during its collapse. Now inside, Red Lantern Darkstar asks, "Work good?" Tamaran technician Hax tells him that she believed that it will, and after 8 days of recalibrating Cyton Matrix to get it running, she would hope it would. And if possible, would he be so kind as to adjust the ring's thought vocalizer? He sounds like a hungry predator. Darkstar growls that he is, but then another voice tells him not to intimidate Hax, or they will have words. Darkstar looks over at the man walking in and says, "Occult! Darkstar still wants to know, why hide face? Why you conceal identity?" Occult says that is his business and his business alone. The only reason why they are all here is because they have a shared goal, and that is the destruction of Darkseid. Is the summoner operational, Hax? Hax says that as far as she can tell, restoring dormant technology as old as this, well, they've got one shot. If any new gods still live, it will find them. Occult tells her to go ahead and activate it before hope dies. Hax activates the summoner from the terminal, and the room begins to fill with a dim white and blue light. As it begins to flood the area, Hax says that she has to shut it down. In its current state, it will burn out and implode. Occult tells her to wait, and a few seconds later, Hax yells that they have 3 organic traces. Capture achieved. But the summoner is burning out. She knew that this would. And as the computer begins to wind down, Occult looks over at the pods, stating, "Great! A corpse, a cowering Tamaran, and whatever that cube is." Hax goes on telling him that all of the captures register high levels of Omega energy. They may not be new gods, but they all have been in direct contact with Darkseid. She can only presume the summoner mistook their energy traces for the new god biopatterns. From one of the pods, Blackfire stands up asking where is she? She was on Tamaran, and now she marches over to Occult, demanding that he tell her where they are. She is the monarch of Tamaran. Occult pushes her aside, stating that she is an error, a retrieval mistake. Hax begins to scan the giant black cube, stating that she would appreciate he not damage the specimens before she has a chance to look at them. This cube is bizarre, except for a trace Omega energy. It's reading inert. Darkstar walks over to the smoldering corpse, stating, "This one is interesting. Dead thing. Dead Green Lantern thing." Blackfire looks it over and says that it is her, the Lantern, the League member. Her name was Cruz. What in Zal's name destroys a Green Lantern? Hax begins to scan Jessica's body, stating that there is immense tissue damage. Organs ruptured. Residual levels of energy suggest direct trauma from Omega beams. Right hand shows extreme crush damage. It shattered her ring, burying the shards of it into her flesh and bone. Though broken beyond repair, the ring material seems to have absorbed some of the Omega energy. It may explain why she isn't entirely disintegrated. Occult asks, what does any of this matter to them? A corpse is no use to them or their cause. And a short while later, Blackfire looks out into space, stating that it was her duty to defend her world, to protect Tamaran. And they robbed her of that, removed her from the Ghost Sector. Occult asks if she opposes Darkseid. And Blackfire says, as a primary threat, yes, with every fiber of her being. Occult then says, good. We share the same cause. We can use you to, but Blackfire stops him and yells that she is not his recruit. She opposes Darkseid to protect her world, not follow anyone on some crusade. They will return her. Hax taps on her tablet, stating that that is not possible. The entire Ghost Sector is now enclosed in Darkseid's shield barrier. While everyone argues, a voice calls out, asking, would someone like to tell me what the situation is? Everyone falls silent as they see Jessica alive, shuffling out of the next room. Hax looks back at her tablet, stating that it's not possible, and Jessica shuffles through, telling her, yeah, I was dead for sure, but now I'm here. Blackfire begins to explain that they have been removed by this man and his associates. And Jessica says that she heard as much. It's nice to see a familiar face, usually. They don't have the best history. And the less said about the Red Lantern, the better. Hax runs her scan, stating that she believes that the fragments, in some crude fashion, are repairing Jessica Cruz's body, using the Omega energy that they absorbed. Jessica tells everyone that she has seen what Darkseid can do. Literally, none of them stand a chance in hell, and she wants two things. Occult says that she is in no position to, but Jessica tells him to shut up. She needs an open link to the Justice League and the Lantern Corps. They need to be alerted to this alpha-grade threat, and they're going to show her how this summoner works. She's going to get her friends back. But as Jessica goes to send her message out to everyone, Hax listens in and blocks her transmission from going out. Hax then asks if everything was sent out. And Jessica says only voice. Nothing in this place seems to work properly. Anyway, about the summoner device. Hax explains that it's an ancient New Genesis artifact designed to gather new gods at a time of crisis. Jessica tells her that all of the new gods are gone. Darkseid himself told her. But if it pulled her and the Killer Queen here, maybe they can, and Hax says that it's not an option. The system burned out and is no longer operational. Furthermore, they have another issue aside from that. The summoner's energy burst must have been detected by Darkseid. Detected and traced. Something is coming. Jessica tells them, yeah, that's Darkseid's new forces. He calls them Para-Angels, a new form of servant soldier. Occult yells to Hax to get the Astral Runner ready, and just then, the Para-Angels begin to boom tube in, yelling, Darkseid is! Darkseid is! Blackfire, Dexstar, and Occult begin to fend off the Para-Angels, and then Omega Beams begin to hit and bounce from one Para-Angel to another, and as one Para-Angel yells, Darkseid is, Jessica is standing there, infused with the Omega energy, stating, finished! Beware my power! With her newfound Omega powers, Jessica tears through the remaining Para-Angels until there is nothing left. Blackfire looks at the mangled bodies scattered about, stating, holy! And Jessica asks, what? Come on, we have to hurry before any more arrive. Occult asks where is she, and Jessica says that she doesn't have a clue. Oh wait, ask again. Occult begins to ask, and Jessica pushes into Occult's mask, yelling, I'm freaking in charge! As they get ready, Occult says that she does not have any authority here, and Jessica takes out her Justice League holo card, telling him that she has plenty. Occult tells her that it doesn't mean anything in the Ghost Sector, and Jessica says that she isn't talking about the card. She's talking about the person showing it to him. Blackfire laughs, stating that she likes her much more than before, and Dexstar responds with, I do not. A few moments later, the group takes off, and Hax says that it appears that they managed to get away. The Para-Angels are focused on attacking the station. Occult takes out a small device, stating good, and he presses the button. A second later, the entire space station explodes, taking out everything, including the Para-Angels, out with a loud vroomp. As they begin to get away, Jessica leans up, stating that she knows that disguise. It doesn't hide his face. It's an inert, veiling tech. It's cloaking every trace of whoever he is. Pheromones, energy profile, voice print, what is your secret? Occult tells her that it's a secret, obviously. Do they think that he'd have gone through all of these efforts if he wanted to share it? He has his reasons. Dexter asks what is their plan, aside from running. And Jessica says that she will plot a course to the ghost sector. They'll monitor it until the League responds and scans the area for a possible way in. Every world inside of it is at Darkseid's mercy right now. And she has 3 friends to rescue in there no matter what. Occult tells her that her friends are, as she said, consumed by Darkseid. Then they have become his new gods, and if that's true, there's no coming back from that. Jessica shrugs, stating that she came back from the dead, so, rules can change. Hax calls out that she would like everyone's attention, and Scansphere shows Sepulchor is moving. It's accelerating to superluminal velocities. It seems like Darkseid's going outward. Darkseid intends to pass beyond the rim of the known universe, to exit physical reality. And Jessica says, alright, so we're gonna follow and intercept. But later, Jessica's going through her room trying to make sense of the Omega energy in her, and suddenly sees and hears Cyborg. She quickly looks around and the ring fragments inside of her begin to play a recording from Cyborg. He was telling her that he went on this mission because the Justice League is good at saving the galaxy, but cleaning it up, not so much. They're going against Darkseid, and it's going to come down to a fight, and it's not going to be pretty. If he doesn't make it, he'll need her to hold it together. Maybe she should have been calling the shots all along. He trusts her a hell of a lot more than anyone else on this mission. Tears begin to stream down Jessica's face, and then images of Darkseid appear, and suddenly she's jolted with anger. Before she can even process those feelings, Hax knocks on the door, stating that she needs to come to the bridge. There's been a development. Once everyone is there, Hax explains that Sepulchor is continuing to accelerate. She doesn't understand its mode of power, but then again, she doesn't understand how you can seal up an entire region of space and move that as well. If they can keep up on their current course, they will not intercept Sepulchor until 4 hours after it passed beyond the universe's edge. Jessica shrugs, stating that it seems that they're going to have to follow Darkseid outside then. Hax goes on telling her that there is more, something behind them in the vicinity of the human homeworld. A large green symbol appeared and there's no information on it. Jessica then says that she has no idea what that could even mean, but the League is there, so they'll remain on track and following Darkseid's trail. But there is also a possibility that if they get the summoner working again, they might be able to get her friends back before Darkseid crosses over. So Blackfire, keep an eye on Mr. Secrets here. Hax and her are going to go check and see what can be done with the summoner, as well as that cube. As the two leave, Dexter whips his tail, stating, "Dexter does not like crews, but she has a point. His secrets are an issue. He cannot be trusted." Blackfire says that she agrees, but how do they resolve that? And Dexter snickers, stating, "We could unwrap him." As Blackfire and Dexter begin to inch towards Occult with the intention of unwrapping his disguise, he asks what do they want, because they should be considering their next actions very carefully. Dexter uses his power to burn away the suit that Occult is wearing, and as the smoke clears, Blackfire says, "By the Far Sons, that's Orion!" Orion shouts, "You are such idiots! The suit was masking me from them!" And at that exact moment, Jessica and Hax begin to notice the cube beginning to flare up with energy. And that's when Blackfire asks, "What? Did we just reveal your true nature?" And Orion yells, No, the Eschaton!" And just then, Jessica says they have a huge problem. That cube was the Eschaton. Hax asks what is an Eschaton, and Jessica tells her that it wasn't singular. It's all of them combined. Jessica quickly unleashes her Omega powers to try and push the giant Eschaton back, but it laughs at her, telling her, "Delicious! Now, organism, where is he?" She grabs Hax and begins to fly away, trying to understand her newfound Omega-bound powers, but she has a bit of trouble flying in a straight line and crashes. The Eschaton continues its pursuit, asking, "Where is he? We smell him!" Back on the bridge, Blackfire calls out over the comms that they have a little problem. Since they've unmasked Occult, they've discovered that he is Orion, son of Darkseid. And Jessica responds with, "Yeah? Well, we also have another problem. Turns out that black cube recovered by Summoner is actually the Eschaton." Orion asks, "An Eschaton?" And Jessica tells him, "Yeah, they aren't the talking one. I'm pretty sure it's all of them compressed into one form." Orion takes out his gun and sighs, stating, "Well, then the Eschaton are gonna tear the ship apart to get to me. I have to face my destiny that I've been trying to. But as he looks up, he already sees Blackfire and Darkstar, the Cat Red Lantern, leaving. Back in the halls, Jessica tries again to block the Eschaton back, but the giant creature smacks her back, telling her, "Get out of my way!" The force of being thrown into the wall causes Jessica to black out, but as she lays there, she starts to see something. It's the recording of Cyborg from before, but this time, it's also him in his new god form. He pings and then says that he is lost. He has a new job and he cannot defy it, and he is so sorry he can't break that control. They're coming for her. He won't be able to stop them, and she must fight them. Ping! Soon Jessica shakes her head, asking if she was out, and Hax tells her that she got hit very hard. But while Jessica comes to her senses, Blackfire and the others focus their fire on the Eschaton. As the attacks bounce off, Darkstar asks, "Maybe we feed him to it, if that's what it wants." Blackfire pauses for a moment, stating, "That isn't a bad idea," and Orion yells, "Hey, I'm right here! Do you have no honor?" The three go back to concentrating their attacks, but Darkstar says, "Meow! You're so powerful! Beyond anything, I have an alternate plan! Cease fire!" Darkstar then hops down, walking up to the Eschaton, yelling, "Hey! Hey! You! Eschaton! You want Orion, yes? But you want Darkseid more, yes?" The Eschaton pauses. "Yes, more than any." And Jessica responds with, "Wait, is this really happening? Is a cat negotiating with a giant cosmic demon?" And Blackfire tells her, "Pretty much." The Eschaton asks if Darkseid is here, and Darkstar states, "No, but we hunt for him. He is our enemy. We can deliver you to him. So you feast." The Eschaton pauses. "What do you need to do this thing?" And Darkstar stops him. "We can't if we're dead." So the Eschaton states, "I acknowledge this logic." Darkstar goes on telling him, "I have a proposal. Spare us and Orion, and we will take you to Darkseid." The Eschaton asks, "What of Orion?" Darkstar tells it, "You can eat him then, but only then." The Eschaton pauses for a moment and then tells Darkstar, "Considering, break this pack and you will all perish." So at that moment, the Eschaton reverts back to its black cosmic cube that it once was, and Darkstar tells everyone, "And that's how it's done. Cunning." Orion asks if he still has to die at the end of this, and Darkstar tells him, "Everyone's a critic. I have to postpone our doom." Hax says that she hates to point this out, but the battle has crippled several main systems. They're adrift, dead in space. Everyone hurries back to the bridge, and Blackfire says that every second that they're adrifting, they're getting farther from Sepulchor and Darkseid. However, there is something ahead. They're drifting towards it. It appears to be a graveyard of wrecks. Scans show vessels from all cultures, all ages. Many are too alien to be identified. Jessica says, "Well, wrecked ships have salvageable tech. I bet we can get what we need for repairs." But outside, watching the Astro Runner slowly drift into the wreckage, a young girl is watching and radios back that there's a new star in heaven tonight. A fresh wreck. Huh, looks pretty intact. Lots of new tech to strip out. Thought you'd be happy, boss. Yeah, I'll be careful. And stop calling me Space Ranger. That was my pop. Call me Gamma Knife. Back on the Astro Runner, Hax goes over the long list of things that they're going to need to get the ship operational, and Jessica tells her okay. Blackfire and Darkstar will accompany her while they look through the debris. Darkstar asks Jessica, "Meow, what will you be doing?" And she says that she'll be having a nice chat with Orion here. She is sure that it will be enlightening. Once the others leave, Orion yells that he is of the new gods. He resents the way that they have exerted their authority and taken charge of this. "Just let it be known, I will not be taking orders. I will not be deputized, and you have no idea of my powers." Jessica laughs, telling him that Darkseid nuked her and she got better. Whatever he has, she really isn't that concerned. So from the top, everyone to the last detail. So after a brief moment of silence, Orion sighs. It became clear that the new gods were under a threat. Signs had proliferated, visions of doom. Every soul in New Genesis dreaming the same dream night after night. That Darkseid was returning and doom would accompany him. The new gods joined the Justice League in an effort to seal the source wall and contain the danger, but that effort failed. Some great power was released, a power that immediately began to unform the new gods. We attempted to use boom tubes, but it would seem that I was the only one that survived. Darkseid very well could have been the one who sent this all into motion, but after escaping, I knew that I could find Darkseid and stop him. thwart whatever scheme he has set into motion. That is why I hid myself using the occulting armor so that I could protect myself in the eschaton that had arisen from the death of the new gods. And Darkseid's return is your fault. You and your so-called heroes of Earth. You were the ones that cut Darkseid down and reduced him to nothing. Jessica asks him how is that bad, and Orion goes on stating that because when he was Darkseid, he was stable, malevolent and all-powerful, but stable. He ruled Apocalypse from his granite throne. He showed it disinterest in the affairs of the universe. But you brought him low, took away his power, and incentivized him. Nothing provokes the powerful into action more than the deprivation of their power. Your actions spurred him into a reaction. Jessica scoffed, stating that it wasn't just them. Yes, he wanted his power back, but that's because there's a cosmic level crisis incoming. That's what he's scared of. That's why he wanted his power back, to protect himself, to move heaven and earth to activate the Sepulchor contingency. He will make new gods. He's given up on Apocalypse and New Genesis. Orion stands up, telling her, "You lie! You all know that. There's no greater threat than Darkseid. There's no force in the multiverse more potent or destructive than him. But what do we do? What is the plan?" Jessica says that she has some basics in mind. Repair the ship, find Darkseid, and kill his ass. Orion says that she is powerful, and he is powerful, but neither of them. But Jessica then tells him that they will drop the eschaton on him. And just then, an alert pops up on the computer, and Jessica says that it would seem that they have themselves an intruder. Over in the cargo bay, Gamma Knife sneaks her way on when she notices the large eschaton cube before her. She scans it, stating that this thing is throbbing with Omega energy. This could be exactly what the boss man wanted. Just need to cut this and... But at that moment, Jessica calls out the shelf to stop what she's doing and drop the lightsaber? Gamma hacks away at the hull, giving herself an opening, and tells her drones to hurry and grab the thing. Orion opens fire on one of the drones, and Gamma quickly turns back, swinging at him, telling him, "No one shoots my drones!" Orion tosses his broken guns, asking, "No one?" And Gamma then tells the drones to get him, which they all do when they swarm Orion, knocking him away. Gamma gets ready to escape with the cube, but Jessica picks it back up, tossing it in the back, stating that they should probably have a bit of a chat. "Who are you?" Gamma yells that they're the ones in her backyard. "Who are you?" So Jessica leans in, stating that she is Jessica Cruz, Justice League, and Gamma says, Oh, Justice League? For real? Meanwhile, outside, Hax looks through another piece of text, stating that this is in remarkably good condition. She could repurpose it for the photonics. Blackfire says, "Great, but what else is on the list?" And Hax begins to state, but Dexstar interrupts, telling them, Something is stirring." Hack asks if they're in danger. At that moment, the robots begin to rip through the wall of the ship, and Blackfire tells Dexstar to get into a defensive position. Grab Hax and stay behind. Back on the Astral Runner, Gamma asks if she's really with the Justice League, like the Justice League. Jessica tells her yes, long story, who are you? So she tells her that her name is Susie Starr, last serving agent of the Space Ranger Service, and yes, he was her father. Jessica asks if she's alone, and Gamma gets ready to answer, but she stops herself, yelling, "Wait, I don't have to tell you anything. I have no proof of who you are." At that moment, there's a banging from the outside, and Jessica says that she's just gonna have to trust her for now. Suddenly, all of Gamma's drones fly by, yelling, "Abort mission, go, 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 go!" As Gamma jumps out of the hole that she created, Jessica goes to check on Orion, who's been knocked out, but then she is struck from behind by an energy blast. A large alien begins to walk up to the two bodies, stating, "Thus fall all who oppose. Thus fall all who face Zotar." Zotar looks back, asking, "What's next, brother god?" And Cyborg walks up with the para-angel, stating, "Ping, ping, ping." Zotar nods. "Yes, secure the vessel and locate the others. Your will be done. Why do you seem sad, brother?" Cyborg looks down. "Ping." And Zotar tells him, "My apologies. For a moment I thought you cared about the female or something." A short while after being restrained, Zotar asks if they have anything to say, and Orion tells him, "I will burn you all to screaming death." Outside, Gamma Knife makes sure that she is out of range of this, calling to her boss, stating that they have a problem. They found a juicy score, but they had to bug out real fast. Also, there's two members of the Justice League there. Well, no, not him. Or her. No, he wasn't there either. None of the famous ones, alright? They had to leave because some super evil bad guys showed up and tanked the Justice League. Yeah, like totally wiped the floor with them. Yep. Yeah. Go back in? Honestly, I don't even really want to do that. Okay, bye. One of the drones asks what they're doing, and Gamma Knife says that they're going back in to rescue the Justice League. Meanwhile, back at the wreckage, Blackfire and Dexstar continue their attacks on the mechs. Dexstar says, "This is useless! They self-repair!" But while they maintain their ground, Hax looks at her tablet stating that there has to be something that she can do. She's smart. The feral mechanoids are coordinated, ergo, they're working as a pack system, ergo, they are receiving external commands to unify their activity, ergo, there is a signal and signals can be blocked. After a few taps on the tablet, the mechs deactivate and she yells, "Yes, suck it, booyah!" Blackfire then asks if she did that, and Hax yells, "You bet I did! I am the damn technician!" But if there are attack mechs here, then it would stand to reason that they attacked because they were protecting something. Perhaps going deeper in will yield something worth finding. Back at the Astral Runner, the ship that they're all on, Jessica's ring begins to play back the message recorded by Cyborg again, but this time, after his normal one, his new god messages come through. He tells her that they have them. He tried to warn her, get her to run, but she didn't. Ping! We have you. You are locked in power-dampening shackles. I'm sorry. Ping, if you have any chance, you must consider me an enemy. Show no mercy. Kill me if you must, because I'm going to kill you. Ping. Jessica begins to wake back up, and after getting her vision straight, she looks at Cyborg asking if he's in here. Zotar says that they should kill her now, but Cyborg pings, and Zotar tells him that he supposes the Great Master might be interested to learn how she escaped, yes. Orion shifts, stating that they should kill him, because if they don't, I will kill you! Zotar laughs, but while distracted, Orion leans up from his restraints and grabs Zotar by the neck. Cyborg begins to charge his cannon, but Orion spins back, throwing Zotar into him. While he moves into the Para-Angels, Jessica yells that he can't fight them alone. How did he get free? And at that moment, a voice says, "Shh." And Jessica sees Gamma Knife's drones are working to free her. Gamma Knife herself jumps into the fight, stating, "I got your backs, don't worry!" Orion then punches into another Para-Angel, stating to himself, "Voice, summon, war armor." As soon as he gets his armaments, he rips through all of the Para-Angels in his sight, focusing his fire on Cyborg. But while those two are focused on each other, Zotar charges straight for a Gamma Knife, shouting, You set him free!" As he swings, Jessica knocks him down with her Omega energy, stating that she also set her free. Back out at the wreckage, Hax scans the area, stating that she's getting elevated levels of implicit temporal activity. At that moment, a voice says, "Oh, hello there." And Blackfire demands to know who spoke, and the voice says, "Are you members of the Justice League?" Blackfire begins to state, "Well," but Hax stops her. Yes, we are. A door suddenly opens up before the three of them, and the voice tells them, Good. As soon as I heard you were here, I wanted to make contact. There's a lot to discuss, and very little time left, even for me. Come in." As the three enter the chamber, a man tells them, "Welcome to the end of everything, and the beginning, and the middle. Where are my manners? I'm Epoch, otherwise known as the Lord of Time." Back on the Astral Runner, the fighting continues with a giant black arm bursting through the ground, knocking everyone to the side. Gamma Knife asks what was that, and Jessica says, "Oh no. It woke up." The Eschaton crawls out, stating, "We woke. We smelled new gods." The Eschaton grabs a hold of Zotar, rips him in half, tossing the body aside. "More. Give us more to annihilate. That one next." As the Eschaton turns towards Cyborg, Jessica flies in front, yelling, "Wait! We made a pact, remember? With Dexstar? We will take you to Darkseid. That was the agreement. You can't annihilate anything else without permission." The Eschaton growls, "We regret the pact, but we acknowledge the terms," and then forms back into the black cube. Jessica turns back to Cyborg, asking, "See? I saved you. As powerful as you are, the Eschaton would have obliterated you. Please say something. Let me know that my friend is still inside. You've been sending me messages. You are trying to fight it. Just say something, Cyborg." He stares for a moment and then says, "Ping," and he boom tubes away. Orion stands up, stating, "Good work. You let him escape back to Darkseid with full data of our location and defensive capabilities." Jessica tells him that there really isn't a playbook for these kinds of things. She wants to stop Darkseid, but she damn well isn't going to let her friends die. She looks back at Gamma Knife, stating, "You helped us. Why?" And Gamma says that her boss told her to. Back over at Epoch's chambers, he says, "Oh, where are my manners? I'm Epoch, otherwise known as the Lord of Time." Blackfire tells him that he just said that, and then Epoch begins to introduce himself again. Hex looks at her tablet, stating that he is in a loop, a jumbled temporal loop. His time flow is not running with theirs, or in the same direction. Epoch begins to change forms, all speaking in broken sentences, and Dexstar says, "I'll fix this!" After shocking Epoch, he falls to the ground and gets back up, stating, "When was I? Did I already introduce myself?" Blackfire tells him, "Yes, you're the Lord of Time. We established that." Epoch gets up, rubbing his head, telling her, I forgot so much. I remember so much. Nothing in the right order anymore. Listen, this site contains the largest concentrated stockpile of implicit time since the Big Bang. I have amassed it here, outside of the linear constructs of the universe, so it cannot be affected by the passage of regular time, and I need your help. Blackfire asks, to do what? And Epoch gives her a thumbs up, stating, to save everything that ever was and ever will be. Just outside, Jessica and the others head towards Epoch's chamber with the Eschaton cube when suddenly Jessica sees herself. The second, Jessica tells her not to freak out, and Orion says that's her. The second, Jessica says, yeah, it will be. Seriously though, don't freak out. He sent me to get you. It's really confusing. You're just going to have to see this through. So the three of them follow, and the second Jessica disappears, and Orion asks, where did she go? Gamma Knife begins to explain, stating that it doesn't matter. They are here, and Epoch says, Jessica Cruz and Orion from New Genesis, welcome. Jessica, perhaps you could slip outside and lead yourself in? Jessica asks, what? And Epoch tells her, it's okay, you'll do it later. Jessica stops him and says, what is this? And Epoch goes on, stating that the universe is facing extinction-level threats, plural. The creature called Perpetua, the apex version of Lex Luthor, and now a renewed Darkseid. Between them, they will destroy creation. Willfully, I've seen it, I have lived through it, and I have died through it. I have come to the exile of dead space to focus my particular gifts. I am currently constructing a revision mechanism. With it, I intend to remove these existential threats entirely. Jessica says that sounds great, but how? So Epoch goes on, stating that the chronological overwrite will be initiated, resulting in the destruction of Darkseid and unseating all of his plans. All existential threats, such as Perpetua, may thus be negated through implicit revision. Hax asks him, you're going to rewrite history? The history of the universe. And Epoch thinks for a moment, telling her, if you want to put it simply, yes. Just then, Jessica's head begins to hurt as she gets another message from Cyborg. He tells her thank you for saving him from the Eschaton, but he is still in Darkseid's thrall. She still has the chance to stop him. He can't. Take that chance before it's too late. Jessica then looks at Epoch and tells him, you're right. We're going to have to rewrite time. Epoch explains his plans, and Jessica and the others get word of an assault about to take place on the reef, led by Starfire and the other three new gods from Jessica's inside source, Cyborg. Orion says that this is clearly misinformation. We cannot trust a word from someone who is under Darkseid's influence. Epoch tells him, actually, Jessica is quite correct. An Apocalyptian kill team is on their way to murder us. However, she is incorrect about there being 4. There are, in fact, 3 killers. The mega telepath, Psychot, the grotesque entropic being called Shadowheart, and an energy manipulator called Starfire. Orion grabs his blaster, stating that they have to find these attackers and destroy them without delay. Epoch stops him, telling him that they've already killed 8 times. Time is truth. They would all do well to remember that. Time reveals truths to them. One allows time to play out so that one might observe the consequences. Then one goes back to adjust the outcome. This layer is not well defended. Nothing can even test the ruthless new gods of Darkseid. However, we are sheathed with time, and time is my medium. I have already allowed the incident to play out in 8 iterations. Jessica asks, what does he even mean? And Epoch smiles, telling her, this. Projections appear of the inevitable defeat of the heroes in several different ways, but after the 3rd one, Jessica yells that is enough. Epoch goes on, stating that through variant observation, he has evaluated their methods, their strengths, and their weaknesses. Dexstar will eviscerate Psychot, Orion will execute Shadowheart, and Starfire will attempt to flee, but Jessica stops him. There are 4 coming. And Epoch corrects her again. No, there are only 3. Your friend Victor may be lying. Time does not. Time is truth, and the truth is that there are 3 killers approaching Jessica. Orion shouts that they must be sent back, and Epoch stops him, telling them that they have to be patient. There's time. That's the point. We have time on our side. We need to discuss the execution of the plan, and Blackfire yells that their plan is to stop these killers. And Epoch stops her, telling her they are 5 minutes away. They will remain 5 minutes away as long as I will it. Hax asks, how is this revision mechanism supposed to rewrite history without the threats? And Epoch picks up one of the information crystals, stating, I came to the reef 200 years ago to work in a temporal negative void of dead space unencumbered by universal time flow. I have spent 27 centuries here compiling data. I have observed all possible outcomes. I have evaluated the existential threats of Perpetua, Apex Luthor, and Darkseid in order to eradicate them. Jessica tells him that rewriting universal history so that none of them ever existed is reckless. But Epoch says, not at all. Hax yells that he can't just edit things out of history without disrupting casualties. The space-time continuum would collapse. Epoch scoffs, telling her, if you go in with a half-assed cut-and-paste approach, yes. Does that look like the thing that I am doing? Each of these crystals have been separated and polished, and will be re-threaded into a continuity that no longer includes polluted variations of evil. And we will do so using the revision mechanism. As everyone looks up at the giant machine, thousands of information crystals are floating around, and Gamma says that it blows her mind every time that she comes in here. Epoch continues stating, this is not some crude masterstroke, not some cosmic despot resetting reality with a twitch of his nose. That always ends badly. This, my friends, is a surgical revision, rewriting universal history one syllable at a time with an infinite precision. Jessica thinks for a moment that he mentioned 4 threats: Darkseid, Perpetua, Luther, and Epoch finishes her statement stating that the other identity has not yet been determined. Jessica then says that they will have to forgive her then, but this is not as precisely planned as you claim. He admits that his data is incomplete, that there are things that he does not know. No factor must remain unknown. That is why he needs their help, to protect him while he finishes. Darkseid is closing in. Time is their greatest defense against his attacks. Orion says, even still, we're facing off against Darkseid. His power is measureless, his genius boundless. Time is a toy to him too. But first we must deal with the assassins. A few moments later, outside in the reef, Psychot scans the area stating that he found Hax. Psychot tells her not to move. He can see inside of her mind. Why is she trying so desperately not to think about a pet cat? At that moment, he realizes that the pet cat is not a pet cat. It is a blue Red Lantern named Dexstar, who lunges out of a rock, viciously clawing away at Psychot's neck. And as Hax watches, she says that that is disgusting. Dexstar looks back, telling her, shut up! Also, pet? Hax wipes the blood from her helmet, nervously smiling that she needed a decoy. Over with Orion, he's fighting Shadowheart head on, but his attacks bounce off of her armor and she tells him that his firepower will only tarnish her pit-forged armor. Orion says that he knows. Now! Gamma leaps in with her Gamma Blade, cutting through Shadowheart's armor, asking, what about this? Shadowheart looks at her chest piece, asking, how? And Orion tells her that the girl's blade can cut through anything. She just needed an opening. And speaking of, he fires 3 shots through the exposed armor, stating, that is a terrible hole in that armor. Anything could get in, including multiple kill shots, for example. And over with Jessica and Blackfire, the two are quietly waiting for the third and final intruder, Starfire. Blackfire says that they have a specific modulation of power needed to kill Starfire. And Jessica asks, wait, we're not killing your sister! Starfire closes in and Blackfire says that her sister is past saving. She is Darkseid's Shatal. Her dear sister will live again once Epoch has revised the continuity. Blackfire lunges out while Jessica tells her to wait, but before Starfire even has a chance to know what is happening, Blackfire destroys her. And back inside, Epoch continues placing each of the information crystals into specific patterns. He will rewrite history. He will prevent all of this, and that's when he hears a voice calling out to him. Epoch starts to look around asking, who's there? And the voice tells him that time can reveal all variances, all truths, unless truth is withheld. The voice you are hearing is the one that can speak truth and make truth, and it is truth that binds, and the voice, when spoken, can hide the truth, even from you. Your observations were deceived. There were 4. Out of the veil of nothing, Azrael appears, grabbing Epoch by the head, drawing his blade. As Epoch shouts and pleads, Jessica rushes back in, wiping tears from her face, telling him to hang on. No one else needs to die today. She rockets into the chamber of the revision mechanism, knocking Azrael away. She tells Epoch to go, but Azrael stands back up with his sword, telling her, you are the one who inexplicably survived the judgment of Lord Darkseid. You had the advantage of surprise. You should have made better use of it, delivering a killing stroke. As Azrael swings, Jessica punches him back, stating that she doesn't want to kill him. Put the sword down and... But Azrael swings again, telling her, this is war. There will be no prisoners. He manages to get a hit in, punching Jessica in the face, so she jumps back, telling him to put the sword down. She already saw one friend die today, and she's not going to see another. After another blow back, Azrael staggers, telling her, "I do not need to use the sword to stop you. I can use my voice. You will submit." Jessica grabs him by the arm, slamming him into the ground, telling him, "Your voice isn't going to work on me. My ring absorbed Darkseid's power. It made me into a living battery of Omega energy, which also happens to make me immune to your spiritual voice." Jessica strikes him with an Omega beam blast, but Azrael quickly gets back up. Swinging his sword, he narrowly misses, but Jessica is close, and Azrael uses his other hand to smack her back down. He stands over Jessica with his sword raised, yelling, "Darkseid is! Darkseid is!" But before he could deliver the final attack, Blackfire hits him with the same blast that she used on Starfire to kill her, reducing Azrael to ash. Jessica gets up, shocked, surprised, asking, "Why? Why did you kill him too?" Blackfire pushes her off, telling her that they have become friends. That has value, but it does not grant her permission to touch a queen of Tamaran. As the others come in, Blackfire goes on stating that she is too accustomed to the moral comfort of Earth's Justice League. They are very far from the high-minded luxuries of that world. This is an existential war, no place for such whimsical standards of fair play and mercy. She did not enjoy killing her own sister, but Epoch has shown them potential. They can end all threats. They can save Tamaran and the other tortured worlds of the Ghost Sector. Jessica leaves as Hax and Gamma Knife follow, and Gamma says to cheer up. Let's show some Space Ranger pluck and save the old universe. Jessica tells her that she appreciated the effort, but those were her friends. They'd been through a lot, and she swore that no one else would die today. Today. Gamma asks if everything is okay, and Jessica yells, "Today! We couldn't save them today! We couldn't save anything today!" But I'm thinking linearly. We're standing in the middle of a giant temporal manipulation device. We can't save them linearly. If they can use the information containing the Ghost Sector continuity before Darkseid consumed it, they might be able to send a message across time. So as Gamma Knife leaves to retrieve the crystal, Hax gets to work configuring one of Hax's drones so that it may act as a vehicle to get their message across. Gamma comes rushing back, stating that she got it. The Ghost Sector, pretty much its entire history, from the point that Brainiac bottled it up to the point where Darkseid turned it into Sepulchor. Hax begins to get things ready, stating that they need a point in time to return to, and Jessica says, after the fall of the Source Wall, when the Justice League destroyed it, failing everyone, summoning Perpetua. They were on a skull ship near Tamaran just before that shockwave hit. Gamma then calls out that the time plume is all set. Let's send out that message. So, back in time, prior to when the heroes were being trapped in the Ghost Sector, Jessica is arguing with Starfire that they have to turn around, that Darkseid is using them. Jessica watches her past self talking to Starfire, but as she tries to talk, no one notices. What is she supposed to do? Hax says that she's working on it. Their organic forms are not receptive to the quantum resonance. They are just not simply equipped to hear or feel a quantum signal. However, she can tune into the machines. Cyborg should be able to hear her. Jessica yells to Cyborg that it's a trap. He's going to ask them to help create something called Sepulchor. He's going to make it sound reasonable, but it's all a lie. They can't trust him. They have to deny Darkseid, because otherwise he will win, he will turn them into thralls, and it will be forever and always. As the connection breaks, Hax asks how did it go, and Jessica sighs, stating that nothing changed. She doesn't think that but at that moment she feels a sharp pain in her head as Cyborg tries to reach out to her. He tells her that it's him, the actual him. He is locked in a prison that he cannot escape, but her words gave him strength. Deny Darkseid, and he's been focusing on those words. He cannot break the grip that Darkseid has on him, but he can at least share his secrets from the inside. Jessica says they will find a way to save him, but Cyborg tells her to forget about him. They don't have any time. Darkseid is coming for Epoch, not only to kill him, but to take the revision mechanism. He's already on his way. They must destroy Epoch's machine. The Lord of Time's scheme is too reckless. His calculations are not precise enough. His errors will annihilate reality. He is no god, but Darkseid is. Destroy the mechanism before Darkseid seizes it, please. As the vision fades, Jessica tells everyone that they have to hurry. There isn't a lot of time, and at that moment, there's a loud boom that shakes the entire reef. Gamma asks what the hell was that, and Jessica says that it was a boom tube. A mass displacement boom tube. Darkseid just brought Sepulchor to the reef. Darkseid is here. Just outside, Darkseid tells Cyborg and his new gods to go and retrieve the revision mechanism unscathed. Eliminate anyone and anything that gets in your way. Jessica and the others quickly race back to the chamber to warn everyone of Darkseid's arrival, and Epoch says that they must defend this at all costs. That is why, as reluctant as he is about wasting temporal energy, temporal duplication is called for. Epoch snaps his fingers, creating a recently copied version of himself, as well as a presently copied version of himself. Jessica tells him to hang on. Darkseid isn't here to destroy them. He is here to take the revision mechanism. Blackfire yells that they must help Epoch complete his work. For the sake of Tamaran, for all of the tortured worlds, they must be liberated. Jessica tells her that they can, but they do not need to use the revision mechanism to win. Darkseid wouldn't dare damage Epoch's device. Orion then says that this is where they have a window of opportunity then. They can drop the eschaton on Darkseid, go back to the original plan. And Orion smiles at her, telling her that it will be the greatest pleasure of his life. As the para-angels begin to storm the front, Orion and Gamma Knife get to the eschaton, and they get into position to join the others in battle. But through the marches, Darkseid scoffs, stating, "These are just meager defenders protecting Epoch's interests. Advance and annihilate." The recently created Epoch stops a group of para-angels laughing, stating that he could trap them in temporal recursions. They will be doomed to repeat until infinity. Darkseid punches the recently created Epoch into the ground, burning him with Omega Blast energy, stating, "I mastered your parlor tricks like time loops when I was an infant." Cyborg then begins to clear out the mechoids that the presently created Epoch is commanding, while Jessica says that they are outgunned, but Darkseid is in the open. "Hit it, Dexstar!" Dexstar looks at the cubed eschaton, telling him, "Deal's a deal, like we promised. Sick him!" Down below, Darkseid begins to march forward, but he suddenly stops and begins to feel something. He asks, "What is that?" But when he realizes what it truly is, he quietly says, "Very clever." The eschaton lunges above Darkseid, screaming, "Death to Darkseid!" and it slams his head into the ground. Everyone cheers, watching the eschaton take on Darkseid, but Jessica tells everyone that they need one last thing to be taken care of. A few moments later in the chamber, the presently created Epoch comes in asking what is she doing, and she tells him that she's sorry, but she has to destroy the revision mechanism. Epoch asks, "What? Are you insane?" And she tells him that she is sane as hell. The mechanism is simply too dangerous. It can't be used by anyone, including you, Lord of Time. This all might fail because you're not a god, but Darkseid is. He can use that mechanism for his own nightmarish purposes. I now know what the fourth universe threat is. It is him, the one that you couldn't detect. Epoch yells that it is taking him an intricate lifetime to align the mechanism. Her ethical objections are noted, but she will not obstruct this endeavor. Good day to you. She steps forward, telling him that she was trying to be nice, but Epoch snaps his fingers, and Jessica disappears into a temporal mist. Epoch tells her that he said, "Good day. Now where was I?" A few seconds later, Jessica appears in the middle of a space bar with Gamma and several armed aliens all staring at her. Gamma blinks and stares, and one of the aliens asks if this is backup. "Who are you?" Jessica punches the alien, yelling, "Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern of Sector 2814, Justice League, now leave my friend alone." And as Jessica knocks the alien out, she asks, "Are you okay, Gamma?" But Gamma gets up asking her, "Who's Gamma?" Jessica says that she needs to be caught up on what's happening, but Epoch zapped her and now she's here. Is Darkseid done? Where is he? How long was she out? Gamma tells her that she does not have the answer to any of those questions. Just you say Darkseid? Jessica yells to stop joking around, but Gamma says that she's for real. Gamma is not her name. Her name is Susie Starr, Space Ranger. Jessica pauses for a moment as it all begins to sink in. Epoch zapped her. Where is she? When is she? Susie says that this is Lorelac Port World. Zynoc Quadrant. She's a lantern, right? Not to be rude, but didn't you all just get wiped out by one of your own? Parallax or something? Jessica stares and then states that Epoch threw her back in time to when there were no core and no chance of her finding any help. At that moment, there's a loud crash as a giant robot crashes through the walls, yelling, "Hold on, Ranger, I'm here, Oh." Susie tells the robot that it's okay, Mr. Tallbot, everything's cool. So let's take this from the top. So after a short while, over on the docking pad, Susie says that that's a big story, save the universe big, and I was there, at the edge of the universe fighting Darkseid, and you called me Gamma Knife? And I was with this Epoch, Lord of Time dude, like, helping him? So we could all rewrite history. That doesn't sound like anything I do. Jessica says that Epoch built the revision mechanism to edit history and eradicate great universal threats, Darkseid most of all. Darkseid was trying to stop Epoch so that he could take the mechanism for himself and remake history to his own plan. The problem was that Epoch was also a threat. One slip, one miscalculation with the mechanism, and he could have destroyed everything forever. So she went to disable the machine, and that's when Epoch zapped her. She needs to get back there and stop Epoch, and Darkseid too, baby. Susie says that time travel is way out of her wheelhouse. She's done research on it, but she's just a ranger, the last space ranger, and she wants to do something that matters, something big. If she's the last space ranger, she's got to leave a legacy. Make the galaxy remember the space rangers. Great spirit rest to them all. Their ship is equipped with a time jump. She's read all the theories on it. Maybe she can pull it off. Right, Mr. Tallbot? Tallbot continues his repair, stating that executing a time jump in a burnt-out second-hand zip ship is suicide. Every part of his neurocortex tells him so. It also tells him, empathetically, that she's absolutely bug-smack stupid. Susie laughs, waving him off. What do you know? There's no way that this is just a coincidence. This is destiny. Why else would you have been thrown to this exact time? In the future, we're friends, right? So let's start right back to getting to the future. Once up in space, Susie says, "How are we looking?" Mr. Tallbot says that they're about to pass through the edge of the known universe, heading for an unfixed space-time location in a possible future. The ship will, of course, have disintegrated due to the stress fractures long before they get to their location, and they will be annihilated. Aside from that, everything is woohoo great. Susie nervously laughs. Don't mind Mr. Tallbot, he's basically a toaster oven with a personality software. As the ship picks up speed, it begins to vibrate, and Jessica asks if that's normal. And Susie tells her, yeah, all the time. She bangs the controls quietly, yelling, "Quit it!" And a few moments later, Mr. Tallbot says that they just passed through the time barrier, and well, they're here. Jessica asks already, and Mr. Tallbot says, that's time travel? Susie then tells Mr. Tallbot to get Jessica ready in the matter transporter, and Jessica asks why. Susie says the throttle's kind of stuck. They ain't stopping, but good news! They'll have a 2-second flyby window where they'll beam her into this reef place. Jessica tells her to wait, but Mr. Tallbot assists her, and Susie yells to get into the transmat. She has to stay at the helm and stick the landing, find some brakes, all that stuff! As Jessica begins to get into the capsule, she shouts to wait. Why doesn't she remember her in the future? And Susie says, how the hell should I know? I haven't been there. Now go, save the universe, do the big stuff, transmat on. Suddenly, Jessica is teleported out. Mr. Tallbot sits down stating that the drive is jammed. She pushed it too hard. They will overshoot the edge of the universe to the reef and Susie tells him, yeah, it's gonna suck, but we're gonna make it. You know why? Mr. Tallbot says, I do not know. In the future, you do not know Jessica Cruz. It may not be the same her because this her is going to die. As the light shines, Susie tells him, nah, we're gonna make it, because I said so. You were a good pal. Sorry about the toaster oven comment. Mr. Tallbot sighs, stating, you're going to get me killed. Back in the present, the Eschaton slams both fists into Darkseid. Time to die! Your end is now! As Darkseid's armor begins to crack, Cyborg flies in, trying to shoot the Eschaton off. The Eschaton leans back, swinging, knocking Cyborg off course, telling him, do not obstruct what is about to happen. Your master will perish. Back, para-angels. Back, new gods. None of you will prevent this. None of you! As the Eschaton releases all of its energy along the sidelines, Gamma says, holy scutbags, that thing is powerful. Darkseid groans, telling it, I am Darkseid. I will persist. I will endure. I will not be ended by a wretch like you. You have taken me by surprise and done your best. Now I shall do the same. Darkseid focuses on releasing an Omega Beam blast into Eschaton. But the Eschaton redirects the energy back, shouting, you will die! As the Eschaton closes in on the final blow, Darkseid punches through Eschaton's chest, telling him, no, Darkseid is, forever and for always. As Darkseid incinerates the Eschaton, he falls to his knees, panting. Blackfire tells everyone that they have to hurry before Darkseid recovers and slaughters them. Dexstar asks where they're going, and Blackfire tells them to the revision chamber. They have to execute Epoch's plan. As the group retreats, Gamma asks where is Hax. And back in the chamber, Hax walks into the current and presently created Epochs, stating that she would like to assist them. She is a technician, and little use in the front lines. However, she is quite adept with temporal mechanics. The presently created Epoch says that that is wonderful. And the current one says that he agrees with himself. She can begin by helping the presently created one configure the last spheres of the late 20th century. Back at the entrance, Cyborg rushes over telling Darkseid that he must retreat, but he says it in words and not pings. Darkseid sits up telling him, "You speak words, not machine code. Why?" And Cyborg tells him, "I do not ping, no." As Darkseid stands up, he states that by destroying the eschaton, it sapped some of his power. His strength will return, but they are temporarily reduced. The control that he once exerted over him is now weaker. Will he exploit this chance? Will he revert to his former nature? Will he become Cyborg again? Cyborg tells him, "I will not. When I was remade, your will was imprinted on the code. The grip may have loosened, but I remain loyal." Darkseid tells him, "Good. You are a good son. Lead my army and secure the revision mechanism." As Cyborg jets off, Darkseid calls out to the forces, telling them to listen to Cyborg's word as it is his own. Now complete the great work. And just as Cyborg approaches the chamber, Blackfire and Orion concentrate their attacks and they stop him mid-flight. Cyborg falls to the ground, but as he begins to get back up shielding himself, he finds that he is close enough and he sends all of his power into his arm, blasting Orion. Blackfire lunges in, stating that she knew Cruz was wrong. Cyborg is no friend, he has to die! She begins to punch him over and over, but once Cyborg is fully charged, he releases a concussion pulse, knocking Blackfire away. He waits to see if she gets back up, and a voice asks if they are next. And Jessica walks out, asking if he's going to go through her too. Cyborg scans her, stating that she was not here before. But all will fall. Darkseid is. Jessica says that she's gonna stop him if she has to, but she really doesn't think she has to. His control has lapsed, hasn't it? Cyborg steps forward. "I am his son." But Jessica tells him, "No, you're Victor Stone. You're in there, despite everything. You're in there, so is Hope. Deny Darkseid, remember? You don't have to fight. Remember your human side." Cyborg begins to stutter. Jess? As Darkseid's hold fades, Jessica runs up crying, hugging Darkseid. And back inside of the chamber, Hax looks at the two epochs, asking if they really thought that they'd win. Hax shoots the presently created epoch in the head, and then the current one in the stomach, leaving giant holes in each. And a few seconds later, Gamma and Dexter rush in, asking what happened. What were those shots? Hax looks back, stating that she was merely continuing the work that she was doing all along. To be fair, she did try to stop when there seemed to be a chance, a glimmer of hope. She thought that maybe she could help break free and escape from, but no, that moment's gone. So for her own sake, she had to carry out her orders and make sure she is on the winning side. And for what it's worth, it was nice being a hero for a while. As a loud, booming sound begins to shake the chamber, Darkseid steps through the boom tube, telling Hax that her life will be spared, for she served him well. Gamma steps back from Hax. "No way." Darkseid asks, "Did you think to betray me?" Hax tries to come up with an excuse, but then she sighs, telling him that she did consider it. She thought that there might be a chance to escape his service, but she realized that that just isn't possible. She removed Epoch as a belated effort to redeem herself, but she will ultimately submit to his judgment. Darkseid extends his hand, telling her, "That doubt is a natural weakness. You were my thrall for a very long time. You saw a chance to free yourself and you took it, but you also recognized your error. It is good enough reason, pragmatic. I could respect someone who values a simple concept like survival. Your punishment is to serve me now, to help me set and activate the revision mechanism. Your punishment will be my forgiveness. Now let us begin." Meanwhile, Jessica leads the others back to the Time Plume, and Blackfire says that she still doesn't trust their new friend. Cyborg tells her not to worry, they will be safe. He'll tell the army to go anywhere but here. That will give them enough time to come up with a plan. And Jessica says that she actually already has a plan, and it involves using the crystal that they used to send that message earlier. Orion asks how is that going to help them, and Jessica explains that this crystal contains the entire chronological order of the Ghost Sector, including the moment the Source Wall collapsed, which was pretty much the last time their Justice League team was intact and not enslaved. Cyborg says that it's like a save point, and Jessica goes on telling them that that is exactly right. With Cyborg's mother box, they should be able to get reinforcements for their final play. They can bring them back. Blackfire asks to bring them back from the dead, and Jessica says no, from the past. Back in the chamber, Darkseid begins to reconfigure the revision mechanism to allow the placement of Apocalypse in the sphere of gods outside of corporeal reality. Once there, he will be able to expand the apocalyptic culture and technology across every system in the multiversal structure. Hax watches, asking if all the worlds will then be refashioned in the likeness of Apocalypse as slaves to the throne world. And Gamma yells, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be one of the good guys, now you're helping him?" Hax tells her that she is, and says that it would be wise if they all assisted him in this. Gamma then asks why would she do that, and Darkseid tells her, "Because if you refuse, you will simply die, for you are already dead." Gamma scoffs, stating that that is some scary stuff. Wait, what? Darkseid goes on stating, "It is all here. You, the Space Ranger, Susie Starr, enlisted Jessica Cruz, and you died in the time jump." Hax then explains that Epoch found her and retrieved her. He wanted a companion and a helper for his work. Epoch rebuilt her using the reef's temporal fields. He salvaged Mr. Tailbot and turned him into those drones. He also wiped her recent memory to spare her the trauma of death. She is a ghost, sustained only by local continuity. When time is rewritten, she will simply vanish, as though she had never been. Darkseid tells her, "It is a sorry fate, but in return for your assistance, I could reweave your lost time thread back into the pattern of reality. You would live and be a part of this future." Gamma looks back at Dexter, asking, "What should I do?" And he tells her, "Dying is not an appealing prospect." Hax then asks her to help them. "Please." Gamma sighs, asking, "What do you want me to do?" Back in the time plume, Orion says that he has isolated the specific moment, and Blackfire says that the plume is now stabilized. It is a fraction of what the mechanism's power is, but it will serve their purpose. But will they remember? Jessica says that that's the idea. They need them to be aware of the situation from the moment they arrive. Right, Vic? Cyborg says that they're talking about locality transposition, a pulse of implicit time from the reef's storage batteries to splice one stream into another. This kind of temporal transaction was beyond even Darkseid's ability. That's why they needed Epoch's unique time devices. It's relatively simple if you have the right tech. Cyborg then hits the button to activate the plume, and there is a sudden boom as a portal opens up. The past Starfire, Cyborg, and Azrael all stumble out, and the past Cyborg asks, "All right, what is going on?" Jessica tells them hi. Now this is going to take a moment to explain. As the memories of the current counterparts pour into the past, Azrael asks, "What did I become?" The past Cyborg states that there is no way that he would have become whatever that is. And the current one tells him, "There is no way that you wouldn't. You are still adjusting to the new memories. You'll understand soon enough." Starfire then says that they were on a Brainiac skull ship, and then here, oh Zal, the pain, the things that she has done. She was a monster. Blackfire cries that she is whole again. She has been saved. She had to kill that monster so that this could happen. She would expect the same. Starfire pulls her arm from Blackfire's grip, telling her that she would not kill her own sister. Blackfire begs for her to listen, but then Jessica Cruz asks, "This was your idea." Just then, there's another thundering explosion that shakes the core of the reef as Darkseid brings Apocalypse back into existence. Blackfire asks what on Zal was that, and the present Cyborg states that they are just experiencing a temporal shockwave. Sepulchor is vanishing, being erased from reality, and according to these readings, the Ghost Sector worlds are all being restored to their original locations. The past Jessica says, "That's good, right?" And the current one says, "No, that's bad." That means that Darkseid has already activated the revision mechanism and has already begun to edit the universe. We need to destroy the mechanism. Deny Darkseid or die trying. So a few moments later in the chamber, Darkseid guards Hax and Gamma, stating that they will not get past. "You will not stop me. You are already too late." As Jessica and her team clash with Darkseid, Gamma looks back yelling, "Holy mean beams! I gotta help!" Hax tells her no, they have to finish this, and Gamma says that this might be their only chance, and Hax says that's exactly why. If they fight with the others, they will die with the others. But if they finish Darkseid's work on the mechanism, and she means finish it now, while he's occupied, Gamma looks at one of the crystals and says, "Oh." Jessica looks back at Blackfire, focusing on the mechanism, but Darkseid grabs Starfire and throws her, stating that she will not. Azrael slashes, stating that they won't be able to keep this up. He's too powerful, but present Cyborg states that Darkseid is only working with a fraction of his strength. Darkseid grabs Cyborg by the head, asking, "You doubt my strength!" And after focusing his energy, Cyborg begins to shout, "Ping, ping, ping!" and turns his guns towards the others. The past Cyborg flies in, stating, "Oh no, this one is mine," and he punches the present Cyborg in the stomach. As the para-angels begin flooding in, the current Jessica sees her past self badly injured, and as she goes to help, the past version says not to worry about her. Go finish this! Jessica rushes back into battle against Darkseid, but he blasts her into the ground asking, "Do you not remember what happened last time?" Just as Darkseid and his forces begin to overwhelm the team, Hax says that they are ready to trigger the temporal cascade. Hax then looks at Gamma, telling her that she's sorry, and Gamma tells her it's okay. She wanted to be a hero. Do something big, even if that means the worst. Hax turns to Dexter. "Are you ready?" And he licks himself, stating, "You are a traitor to the end. That's what I like about you." Dexter looks down at one of the crystals on the desk, and then he knocks it over, shattering it. Hax shouts to Gamma to break it. "Smash the mechanism!" And Gamma begins to swing her sword as Darkseid looks back, shouting, "No! What are you doing?" Hax tells her that she is defying him, and Gamma yells, "Yeah, suck it, you great big!" But before she could finish, her body begins to fade out of existence. Hax calls out to her, but Dexter says, "She's already gone. She never was. Not really. Right now, though, the time fields are buckling. We must prepare for..." But before he could finish, the revision mechanism explodes. Darkseid looks at Jessica, telling her that the implicit time spilled here is about to implode. "You have beaten me." Jessica yells that she said that she would. If it was the last thing, and Darkseid stops her. "It will be your last thing. I will retreat to Apocalypse. You can only remain here and perish." As Darkseid boom tubes out, the past Cyborg drags his current self over, stating, "They're all gone. They know this place is finished." And Jessica asks if this implosion is going to destroy reality. And Cyborg says no, they are beyond the lip of the universe. It'll be a local detonation, but not small. With them being outside the material universe, he has no navigational data to boom tube them back out. And the present Cyborg begins to stand up, stating, "I do. I retained my new god, extra-universal mapping. I can get you out, but I'll have to remain here to do it. All I would need is a power source to amplify it." The past Jessica wobbles forward, stating that she can provide it. Not like she's going to be walking away from this. Starfire yells that they will not. Either they all get out of here or... But the past Jessica begins to transfer her energy to the current Cyborg, stating that it's an executive decision. "Here's your power, Vic. Do it." The boom tube opens up around everyone, and Starfire reaches out, yelling for them not to. And just as quickly as it came, the portal closes. Jessica laughs, telling them that that was quite a ride, huh? And Cyborg says that it was a hell of a thing. But just outside, the reef explodes in a blinding white light, with Jessica shielding everyone from the shockwave. But as the blast passes, Azrael says, "Okay, now what?" Jessica says that she's open to ideas. The last spark that she has left is barely enough to sustain an atmosphere here, so they better think of something quick. Cyborg says that he can boom tube them off the rock, just need to know where everyone's going. And as everyone says their goodbyes, Cyborg opens up a portal for everyone to leave. Jessica Cruz headed back to Oa. Orion brought Azrael, Dexter, and Hax to Thanagar to prepare for the next war. And Cyborg and Starfire get ready to head back to the Hall of Justice. But as they step through, their looks dramatically change. And the post-apocalyptic Starfire and Cyborg look at the destroyed world, and Cyborg asks, "Okay, what did we miss?" Now don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as we're bringing you these large videos 3 times a week right over here. And we'd love to have you join this channel and be a part of it. Don't forget, you can also check out Comicstorian's main channel, where we bring the comic books as they're coming out to you, so you get complete stories over there and full stories over here. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.